Welcome everyone to the first driver ratings for the 2025 Formula 1 season. We've got the Australian Grand Prix to talk about today. For people who don't know, every single Monday after a Grand Prix, I go live on Twitch to do a review of everything. We watch the highlights, we look at Discord, we look at F1 Fantasy, F1 Play, F1 Predict, now it's called. Anyway, we do that for every single Grand Prix weekend. And then at the end, we do our driver ratings for every single driver based off of qualifying and the race. If you're over on YouTube right now, be sure to tune on into Twitch. Like I said, we do the first half of the review over there, and then the driver ratings we do on Twitch and YouTube. So let's get into it today. As per usual, I have a poll up in chat for you guys to vote on what you want to rate the driver. Yeah, in previous years, I used to rate the drivers myself before the stream, and then I'd come on stream and justify why I rated them. But last year, what we did was we kind of collectively rated them together. And I preferred that. I think that's the best way to do it. I think it's way more enjoyable to kind of just like chill and chat and talk about each driver's performance and kind of rate them together rather than like it being some serious predictions. So yeah, that's the plan. So Australian Grand Prix, let's get into it. Starting off with Isaac Hadjar. What do we rate Isaac Hadjar? Let me get the poll up in chat. Again, YouTube, you got to come over to the Twitch stream if you want to vote in chat. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and type in chat what you think Isaac Hadjar should get. So, how I do these ratings, first off, how I do them is I rate people's entire Grand Prix weekend. So that includes qualifying the race in this instance. If it's a sprint weekend, sprint qualifying, sprint, race. It's the entire Grand Prix weekend as a whole. So sometimes it gets a bit tricky because they might do well in the sprint, but then do bad in the race. Or in this case, they might do well in qualifying, but then retire in the race before it even starts. So I like to rate their Grand Prix as a whole. How I kind of do my ratings is 10 has to be perfect. Like you had the perfect weekend or you majorly outperformed your car. A 0 is like you were absolutely shocking and terrible. I'd say 5 or 6 is about average. And yeah, obviously more people are going to be on the higher end. So let's get into it. Isaac Hadjar, let me get up the standing sheet. So in qualifying, Isaac qualified P11, which for VCARB standards where we think they are right now, I mean, his teammate qualified P5. In Q2, he got out qualified by Yuki, but only 1/10. So he only missed out on Q3 by 1/10, which is a really good performance. But again, relative to where that VCARB should be, Yuki qualified P5, he qualified P11. You know, obviously taking the rookie bias into account, he had a good weekend. But again, when it comes to my rankings, I like to rate people purely based off performance. I don't take into the fact that someone like Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton's got higher standards. I don't take into a fact a rookie or a new driver have lower standards. So that's why I think Hadjar should get you know, at the end of the day, qualifying was good for a rookie, but was it that good for where the VCARB actually ended up being in P5? And then it comes to the race. I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't even make it past the first lap. You know, if that was Lance Stroll, if that was, you know, Liam Lawson, for instance, Max Verstappen, any driver that's not hated, that's hated, I think they would get memed on. But obviously Isaac Hadjar, everyone felt sorry for him, as you should. You know, it's his rookie race. It was his debut, and he's not even done the first lap. And he was obviously sad about it. I mean, we'll talk about it earlier on the stream. Like, I think showing emotion on camera is completely normal. A lot of people were talking about how you shouldn't. The cameraman shouldn't film someone crying. And it's like, if it was in private, yes, but this is a sport. We're there to see people's emotions. And I think, in my opinion, it helps to feel more connected to a driver, which it absolutely did. Everyone felt sorry for him. And then on the other side of things, you got Helmut Marko, who's like, he put on a tearful, a theatrical act of tears, and it was quite embarrassing. And it's like, okay, dude, like he just crashed in his debut race. Like, chill out. Like, yeah, I'm curious to see how Horner and Hadjar respond to that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is sad, but from a performance standpoint, it's quite disappointing. So if I was to give Hadjar a rating again, I think this is such a hard one because he did quite well in qualifying, but then again, he didn't do amazing. It's hard. I don't know. What do you guys think? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's around that like 3, 4, 5 mark. It's hard. I think as a rookie, I'd probably give him an okay rating. But again, I don't like doing rookie bias, just kind of rating as a whole. I think it was kind of underwhelming. You know, 1/10 off his teammate in Q2, missing out on a potential P5 in qualifying, spitting on the opening lap. I'm thinking maybe a 2. I'm thinking maybe a 2. I know it's hard. It's harsh. This is gonna be hard. This is gonna be hard. I feel like people tuning into driver ratings for the first time are gonna be like, "You're way too harsh" or whatever. But it's so hard to rate. It's so hard to rate when you've got such a difference between quality and the race, and you know, a mistake in the race kind of cost your entire rating, even though you didn't do too bad. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to give him 1 point for making it through to Q2 and doing pretty decent. And 1 point for being close to Yuki. Other than that, I mean, he missed out on Q3 when he probably should have made Q3, and he crashed on that one. So I'll go for a 2. I'll go for a 2. I give Hedger 5, and Hamilton's dad gets a bonus point for comforting the kid. Sup, Nick? Welcome to the stream. Some of you not smarty. Formation lap Spinala, yeah. Why don't you lead the YouTube people back to Twitch when you finish the YouTube show? I always do that. I always go come over to Twitch. I've just seen the Sky Sports here. Where read that? Crazy, I did a league race with Hedger years ago. Yeah, man. If you don't know, Hedger used to be a part of like the league racing community on the F1 game. So it's really cool to see him now in Formula One. Well, I didn't know he said that. Yeah. Ain't no way people are voting 5. What the fuck? First lap on wet in F1, but yeah, pro drivers shouldn't spin in the formation lap. Yeah, at the end of the day, we've got to rate people based off of them being an F1 driver, not them being a rookie, not anything else. Yeah. A 2 is kind. I mean, if I'm looking at his performance in qualifying, ignoring the race, ignoring crashing the race, I think being closer to Yuki in Q2 was good. Yeah. I think 2 is fine. It's going to be hard to rate. We'll leave it at 2. We'll be at 1 for crashing formation lap, but did well on Saturday, so 3. Okay. If he gets 2, I'm curious what Lawson gets considering his entire weekend. Yeah, we'll get to Liam soon. Yeah. High jump, 2. Let's move on. All right, next up, we have got Jack Doohan. Look, coming to the weekend, Jack Doohan was obviously copping a lot of flack. Oh, he's not going to last very long. But coming to qualifying, he did pretty decent. Well, actually, kind of similar to you, Hadra in the sense. Made Q2, was only, well, actually was 7/10 off of Gasly in qualifying. Yeah, so that's actually not too great. And then in the race, whilst his teammate was running around in the points end, Doohan retired on the first lap. Oh fuck, sorry, the vote. Yeah. Oh my god. Thanks for letting me know. All right, sorry, majority of you guys saying 3 for Isaac Hedger on the pole. I've already fucked this up. I'm so good. All right, let's get the poll up for Jack now. My bad. Oh, we fucked it, lads. We fucked it. Restart. Oh my god, now I'm typing in here. Right, Jack Doohan's 25 Australian Grand Prix. All right, polls up for Jack. 1 to 10. What do you rate Jack? Get your votes in on the Twitch poll. Okay, sorry. Back to Jack. What were we saying? Yeah, at the end of the day, he was quite far off of Gasly in qualifying. I mean, as a rookie, he did pretty good. He kind of, made it through to Q2. But then again, it wasn't anything too crazy considering he was 7/10 off Gasly. And then on the opening lap, in the race, spun. Again, very tricky conditions, but at the end of the day, you did spin. We can be lenient with these drivers because of the conditions, which I guess we are kind of being lenient. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'm going to give Jack maybe a 2 as well. Maybe, yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Should we be kind to the drivers because it was wet conditions? Maybe Hedger a 3. How's Liam higher than Hedger? No, in case people haven't worked it out, we're going in reverse race finishing order and rating them. This is not in driver rating order. Doohan is a weird one. The spin came out of nowhere, yeah. Be consistent. Well, yeah, I'm gonna try be consistent, but we're trying to figure out the basis here of a really weird Grand Prix. You know what I mean? It's really hard to rate when drivers literally retired on the first lap. Sometimes we do inconclusive because we don't even have enough time. Actually, yeah, Should we do an inconclusive for all these drivers? To be honest. Oh, but then they've crashed on their own, haven't they? Nah, they've crashed on their own. They crashed on their own. We need a balance of conditions because literally everyone's spanning off, yeah. We'll probably just end up giving these guys all 2. All right, we'll give him a 2. We'll give him 1 for making it through to Q1. But then again, he was so far off his teammate. Maybe 1.5. Maybe 1.5. I don't know. It's going to be hard to rate these guys, so we may as well just move on from them pretty quickly. What are you guys saying on the poll, though? Majority of you guys saying 2. All right. We're in the poll there. Moving on to our next driver. We have got Carlos Sainz. Let's get the poll up. Oh my god, I keep typing in the wrong box. All right, polls up for Carlos Sainz. What do you rate Carlos Sainz's 2025 Grand Prix? Again, another driver in a tricky situation where in qualifying, he made it through to Q3, but was disappointing in comparison to his teammate. He got out-qualified by Albon by 0.3. What even happened to Sainz on his last lap? What's inconclusive for then? Yeah, inconclusive would be for like if no fault of their own, they got taken out in the first lap, whether it be like a mechanical failure or something like that. So we didn't actually get to see how they do. Or like early on in the race, they have a mechanical failure. But like these guys kind of all crashed on their own. So yeah, even though it's like it is tricky conditions and we are being harsh here, we just got to pump these ratings out and kind of get to the drivers who we can actually like properly rate. Did he not get impeded in his last run of quali? Was that what happened to Sainz? I actually don't know what happened to him. If he gets 2, I'm curious what Lawson gets. Probably should have made it through to Q3. You guys were talking about driver earlier. Yeah, oh, yeah, doing actually. He did get impeded on his last lap. True. I forgot about that. I had him in fantasy, had big hopes, but Albon beating him makes him a 3 for me. Lost to Albon and crashed under safety car. Yeah, I think for me, I'm leaning towards probably a 2 as well, just because, again, got kind of beaten out by Albon. Yes, he made it through to Q3, and then spinning on the first lap. Yeah, obviously for Sainz' standards, that's worse than a rookie, but yeah, probably the same as the other guys. It's hard. Sainz as a strategist is a 10. True. If rookie's got 2s for spinning at start, Sainz is worse than a 2. That's not how we do rankings, Aston Master. Everyone gets rated based on their performance, not based off of their standards. Otherwise, you're going to end up having the most fucked ratings of ever. Again, everyone can do their ratings differently. Some people like to do it based off of vibes. Some people like to do it based off of standards. I like to do it based off of performance. But yeah, anyways, talking about Sainz. I don't know. There's not much to talk about. I think it was kind of underwhelming qualifying for him. I mean, no one's mentioned in chat why he got out qualified by Albon by 0.3 and was 4 positions down. But yeah, it was just, I felt like he was going to be on the same par as Albon, and then kind of, in the end, he was kind of a little bit disappointing. And then crashing in the race as well, not redeeming himself. I think experienced driver crashing, yes, very, very rough conditions, almost, no control over the spin. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I wouldn't rate drivers that didn't do at least 2/3 of the race. Yeah, but it's their fault. Again, this is a tough one because it's like their fault that they crashed. You know what? Let's just bang these guys out, because otherwise we're going to be here all day talking about this. And we're just in a very, very tough position. Okay, we're past them. Whew. Okay. We're past the weird situation drivers. All right. On to Fernando Alonso, who crashed much later in the race. I need to end the poll. Fuck. Bit rusty, guys. Bit rusty for the first driver ratings of the year. Oh my God. What am I doing? All right, polls up Fernando Alonso. What do you rate Fernando Alonso's Grand Prix? So, Alonso, in qualified P12. He was only a few milliseconds ahead of Stroll. Is that Stroll doing good? Is that Alonso doing bad? Or is that the Aston Martin kind of like, is that the best they could have done, P12? To be honest, I don't know, really. It's really hard to do ratings for so many reasons this week. I mean, we've already spoken about the wet conditions, the difference between qualifying and the race being so drastic, but also we don't know what the pecking order is. I can't sit here and be like, yep, Alonso maximized the car, because we don't really know where the car is. Yeah, I mean, he out-qualified Stroll, but barely. And we know what a driver like Stroll is like. He got qualified by Hadjar, by Carlos Sainz, by Pierre Gasly, but I think that's probably maybe the best he probably could have done in an Aston Martin. And then in the race, he kind of, was in the mid-pack and then ended up crashing because of the gravel from Gasly. Again, a driver that's hard to rate because it wasn't really his fault for the crash, but then again, he didn't really show much before he crashed. I think relative to the other guys, maybe I don't know, maybe I'd give him just like a 3.5. I don't know. It's really hard. It's really hard this week because we don't know where Aston Martin is. And there's so much chaos. Do we know why Alonso spun? Because he did nothing wrong. Yeah, apparently there was heaps of gravel from what we're seeing. Alonso posted on his Instagram story a picture of all the gravel on the track. Slow and steady. Stroll got points in the end. Yeah, true. Probably the best Alpine Aston could have done in qualifying. Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to tell. It's really, really hard to tell. Still looks good, so Aston wasn't that bad. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about Alonso. Dude, this feels so weird. Like, I want to talk about the drivers more, but these drivers all just have, like, nothing to talk about. All right, we'll leave it there then. On the poll, majority of you guys saying 3 as well. All right, next up, we have got Gabriel Bortoleto. Oh, my God. Gabriel Bortoleto. All right, polls up for Gab. Polls up for Gab. What do you rate Gabriel Bortoleto's performance? So, Bortoleto in qualifying, amazing stuff. Making it through to Q2. Did not expect that at all. Out-qualifying Hulkenberg by a few milliseconds. Obviously, with how experienced Hulkenberg is, that's amazing from Bortoleto. He also out-qualified Kimi Antonelli, Liam Lawson, of course. And then in Q2, what happened to him in Q2 again? He made a mistake, right? I think he made a mistake. Ended up being 7/10 off of Jack Doohan, the driver in front of him. Had a big snap. Yeah. So yeah, he did make a mistake in qualifying in the end. But to be honest, I think that was probably the best he could have done. He was kind of kicking himself. He was kind of talking about how he probably could have made it through to Q3, but I don't think so. Either way, mistake in qualifying, but to even make it through to Q2 was good. And then in the race, he was doing quite well. He was staying out of trouble. He was kind of running in that, like, on the edge of points position. And then, yeah, the rain came out. He had the right tire on, so the strategy was right. You can't blame the team, and end up just like losing the car, and the suspension was completely destroyed. He got a bit unlucky because I don't think his spin would have caused him to crash. But then the suspension just kind of like died, which was really, really weird. So yeah, maybe he did spin because of the suspension problem that ended up happening after he spun. But yeah, I don't know. Again, another driver hard to rate because again, we don't really know where that Sauber is and whatever. But he did have a good qualifying. He was doing okay in the race until the spin, but ultimately he did crash out because of his own doing. So I'm thinking maybe like a 3.5. Or like a 4. What do you guys think? Sam Bortoleto, do we know if he spun all by himself or was it just suspension failure? Yeah. Stroll looked good, so Aston wasn't that bad. Yeah, true. That's what I mean. It's hard. It's hard to tell. All right, on the poll, majority of you guys saying 4 or 5. I don't know if I can sit here and say Bortoleto is a 5, is an average, because, like, yeah, he did good to make it through to Q2, but then he made a mistake in qualifying, and then ultimately he made a mistake that kind of ruined his entire race. We also found out that the Saubers are not the slowest team. It's Haas. Yeah, Haas are way off at the moment. I mean, that could change by the time we get to China. Maybe it was just a bad track for Australia, but for them in Australia. But honestly, Bahrain was bad for them as well. All depends on how you rate yourself. Tough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll give Bortoleto a 4. Again, it's really hard to rate these guys, so we'll just give them a 4, I think, and move on. Majority of you guys saying 5 in the poll, though. Okay. All right, next up, we have got Liam Lawson. Let me get the poll up. Oh my god, I keep typing in the wrong key on the wrong PC. All right. Liam Lawson, poll is up. Okay, so in qualifying, Liam was obviously disappointing. Went out in Q1, making that mistake at the end of the lap. Overall, though, I mean, like, I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. I don't think he's completely shit Nikita Mazepin status. Like, I think he actually showed pace, which is good. But at the end of the day, he made a mistake, which made him go out in Q1, which he shouldn't be doing in a Red Bull. Which then in the race set him up to start from the pit lane. I thought he was going to have an advantage in the race starting from the pit lane. I thought he was going to have the better tire, going to have have a better setup, have more downforce. And in the end, he kind of just got stuck behind the Haas's. His race pace didn't look good. Again, was that the setup? Was it because he wasn't used to the setup that he had because of the limited or the no running time that he had with that setup? And because it started to dry up, was the car just so tailored towards the wet that he was just kind of mudded? Or was that generally the pace of Liam Lawson? He ended up getting past Ocon, and I think then he got stuck behind the Saubers. So yeah, it was pretty rough. But I do think obviously people are making it out worse than it is. And then in the race, he got left out for way too long. Considering he's a rookie and we know that car's hard to drive, leaving out that long in the wet is just like, it was a death wish, and he obviously did end up clutching the wall. So yeah, unlike Isaac Hadjar, unlike the other drivers I mentioned, he didn't have a good quali and he didn't have a good race. So I mean, you can't give Liam higher than a 1, to be honest. But yeah, he didn't. But he didn't crash in the beginning. Yeah, that's good. That's good. But I mean, I don't know if you should get points for not crashing in the beginning of a race. I feel like that's just like a given. So yeah, he is not a rookie. He is a rookie. It's his first full season of Formula One. He's done less than, well, he's starting the season with less than 12 races, then less than half a season. It's even worse after all the shade he sent at Perez. He did most of the race more than the others. Horner did say they put much more wing on in the race. Yeah, that makes me think, like, did he... I mean, I said it before, like, with the setup that he had, I didn't really think about this at the time, but maybe when the track dried up, he was just stuck on a wet setup and driving around at Haas's pace. But yeah, obviously I'm a Liam fan, and he did have a bad weekend. Like, qualifying wasn't great, and he ended up spinning out from the race. But I don't know. People are making it worse than what it is. At the end of the day, it was a track he's never been to in Formula One. He had limited running time because of power unit issues in practice. We went into qualifying and he made one mistake. He was looking pretty quick and he just made one mistake, which cost him. Went out in Q1 when he shouldn't have. And then in the race, he had a wet setup on, which I think limited his pace in the dry. And then he got left out way too long on dry tires in the wet. And at the end of the day, like, you know, I feel like people are clowning Liam more than the other guys when it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, what, half the grid had a spin? Leclerc spun, Yuki spun, everyone spun. It's just unfortunate some drivers end up in the wall, but at the end of the day, he didn't have a good weekend. So I got Liam. I'll give Liam a 1. Max Leclerc or Norris winning the Chinese GP? I mean, it's hard to say. We kind of got to wait till we see practice 1. Even sprint qualifying in the sprint. He did most of the... wait, I read that. Did he manage to pass Ocon? Yeah, he managed to pass Ocon, and then he got stuck behind the Saubers. Is 1 or 0 the worst grade? True. I mean, the poll only has 1. I think we just do 1. What's the point in having 0? 0 seems weird. No, yeah, if you do 0, then that's 11 ratings. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, 1 to 10 makes more sense. Otherwise, you're doing ratings out of 11 if you do 0. If that, surely people have a brain to understand what I'm saying. It was strategy to stay on mediums, not his wish. He did poor, but not awful. Yeah, Lawson is not likable. I think that's why people are being harsh. What's not likable at Lawson? I don't know. I feel there's a lot of new people in the stream who don't know I'm a Liam fan and heard all the stuff that we're talking about. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how Liam's personality comes into his rating. for his on-track driving. 1 for participation, 1 for showing up on the track, 1 for turning the car. With the new technical directive, it's hard to guess who will win. Yeah, that too. That could honestly change so much coming into China. God, Lawson will come good. I just think Yuki deserves more. Yeah, but if you think Yuki deserved more, why does Liam deserve hate for Red Bull's decision? It's literally no positives other than he passed the Haas. It would be a 0 if it was an option. I disagree. He had the second fastest lap in the race. He had a faster lap in the race than Max Verstappen. Again, in qualifying, he looked actually dialed in other than the mistake he made. I would have loved to have seen what he could have done if he didn't make that mistake at the end of the lap. I think people are very, 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 very much over-dramatizing Liam's weekend for what it actually was at face value. Like, Isaac Hadja crashed on the formation lap, and he's getting more praise than Liam making it all the way through to the end of the race. You know what I mean? It's just like, that goes for every driver. That goes for every driver. Jack Doohan got criticized. You know, Bortoletto, all these drivers who crashed during the race are getting criticized. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like more people are more sending their criticism based off of how they like the drivers rather than what they actually did. If he made one mistake in quali, where was his banker? Well, the track was improving. The track was improving, obviously, as it went on. But I do agree. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can say the same about Kimi as well. But I think it was down even before that mistake. I think this weekend as a whole, though, it sucked. Yeah, Isaac doesn't have a race. Liam has 20-something. He does not have 20 races. He has 11 races in a different car. Anyways, we're going to move on from Liam because you can just tell. You can just tell there's no facts. It's just all just, yeah. All right, moving on. Everyone's saying 1, though. Everyone agreeing 1. All right, next up. Ollie Behrman. Interested to see where you guys rate him. Interested to see where you guys are going to rate him. Oh my God, I keep typing on the wrong PC. All right, polls up. Guys, don't vote before the polls up. Don't vote before the polls up. I'm going to have to put the poll up before we change screens. Otherwise, everyone keeps voting before it comes up. You're digging deep for excuses. Junio, we're on the Ponden stream. We like to analyze every single driver and talk about every single detail. And everything I spoke about with Liam, yes, I'm defending him. I'm not defending him. I'm just giving reasons as to why that happened. I can still sit here and be like, Ollie Behrman's a 1. Liam Lawson's a 1. But I can still talk about how and why it was bad, or why I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. That's what you do on a stream. And that's what you do in a discussion. You talk about things. You're not digging for excuses. You're analyzing it. If you want to just hear someone give a rating, there's other YouTubers and other content creators out there who just give a rating, make a funny comment, and move on to the next driver. But that's not what we do here on the Ponden stream. Guys, vote again. Yeah, vote again if you already typed. You can see the moon from your room. I ain't gonna lie, in the UK I've noticed the moon is out so much more during the day. Artlist, at least he didn't bin the car in the race. Yeah, that's true. That's true. 2 crashes on practice for Behrman. Yeah, Freudian slip. What's a Freudian slip? He got out of the system in practice. Yeah, true. 2 crashes in practice make him not do quali and then just way off the pace in the race. Yeah, I'm debating your defense more so, not in a bad way. Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, talking about Behrman. Behrman's an interesting one because I think he had a worse weekend overall. He had the worst weekend overall of every driver on track. Even worse than Liam Lawson. Maybe you disagree with me, but I think coming into your very first practice session, what's the goal of practice? Is to get practice in. And he's crashed out in practice 40 minutes in, given the team a $500,000 damage bill in the very first practice session of the year. He then doesn't participate in practice 2 and doesn't get practice in. Then in practice 3, he spins on the very first lap and doesn't get any practice in. So even though we're not rating his practice performance, just talk about the weekend as a whole. That's horrible. No practice, $500,000. That's terrible. Then coming into qualifying, he obviously doesn't get to do qualifying because of the problem he caused from his crash affected him in qualifying. So, you know, even though we don't really get to rate Behrman's performance up against Ocon, that was kind of caused by his mistake in practice. So it's like, do we end up rating the practice? I don't know. I feel like you kind of have to because it's just like that affected his qualifying. And then in the race, he started from the pit lane, same as Liam. Not sure if he had a wet setup on or not. Probably did, to be honest. And yeah, he was miles off Ocon. He was miles off Ocon's pace. At one point, I'm fairly sure he's a minute down on Ocon, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, he finished the race. At the end of the day, all these rookies, even experienced drivers, crashed in the wet, and he kept on track, which is really good considering he crashed in practice. I think overall, Behrman had the worst weekend of every single driver. But in terms of the race, he was pretty good. This is a hard one, man. This is a hard one. Honestly, if I'm going the whole weekend, I'm giving him a 1.5 because the only positive was keeping the car on track. No pace, last, didn't start qualifying because of his own mistake, fucked up all 3 practices. But if I'm going based off of if I'm going based off of the race, it's probably like a 3, 2. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's fucking hard to rate. It's really hard to rate this way. I'm actually upset that we had a weekend like this for the first driver ratings. A Freudian slip or parapraxis is an unintentional error in speech, memory, or action that reveals some conscious thoughts, desires, or feelings. Named after Sigmund Freud. Wait, what were you guys referring to, though? Were you referring to Behrman or Liam or me? Ollie also made mistakes, but not awful. Tried to stay out of trouble during the races. I actually don't remember him, yeah. Didn't you say your ratings was based off of quality in the race? That's not practice. Only rookie apart from Kimi that survived. That's what I mean, next year. It's hard. But what I mean is he didn't do quali because of his mistake in practice. So it's like, we can't just be like, oh, we're going to give him a 6 because he kept on track in the race, but he didn't get to do quali. You said you're defending Liam. Well, I'm not defending Liam. I am defending Liam. I'm defending Liam from people just hating on him for the sake of hating on him, or you know, saying he's shit because of a weekend where, I mean, he was probably bound to be in that position with the situation he was in. Again, I can still acknowledge he had a bad weekend. It's a 1, but people acting like it was Mazepin levels. It's like, what the fuck? How? I think a 4 purely as he finished. Yeah, I'm probably going to leave him as a 3. I'll leave him as a 3. At the end of the day, he kept on track the entire time. And finished the race. But is that a positive, though? Just because other drivers went off, is it a positive finishing last? And being that much off the pace of your teammate? Fuck it. I'm giving him a 2. I'm giving him a 2. Didn't do quality because of his own mistakes in practice. We'll give him... He gets 1 point solely off the fact that he finished the race. That's it. It is because he caused enough damage in FP1 and FP2, yeah. Again, we wouldn't normally rate practices because that's just stupid, but in this case, you kind of have to, man. Holy fuck. Totaling the car in one session, not getting practice in the other session, not doing qualifying. I really hope he doesn't have a weekend like that again. If he shows up to China and has a single spin in practice, that's not looking good, man. That makes me think that maybe the house is terrible. Liam flipping people off in the car when he didn't even have the job yet. He invites the hate. Acting like half the grid hasn't flipped drivers off. He's got a long neck, though. Yeah, we're long neck brothers. Look at us. Woo. All right, we're in the poll there for Behrman. Majority of you guys saying a 3. All right, moving on. Next driver. I'm going to make sure I have the poll ready this time so people don't vote early. We got Esteban. All right. Next up, we have got Esty Bestie. What do you guys rate Esteban Ocon out of 10? You play F1? I used to. I don't really play so much nowadays. I guess I'm kind of waiting for the new game to come out before I start streaming F1 again. So we'll be back for F1 25. But yeah. Anyways, Esteban Ocon. In qualifying, he qualified P19, only 1/10 off of Liam Lawson, but 6/10 off of Nico Hulkenberg. So, yeah, is that Haas's pace or is that Ocon's doing to be 6/10 off of the next relative team in front of them? I think it's more the Haas, but still. You know, at the end of the day, Behrman had a shocker, so it kind of made Ocon look good, and he wouldn't really have Behrman to compare him to. Ocon ended up finishing in the race second last ahead of his teammate, but at the end of the day, he kept it on track. He finished 3 seconds behind Yuki, and 7 seconds ahead of Behrman. Again, another hard driver to rate. We don't know the pace of the Haas. We don't know the pace of the Haas yet. We can't really compare him to Behrman because Behrman had a shocking weekend. Well, I mean, I guess you can compare him to Behrman because he did better than Behrman. He kept on track, finished P13. At the end of the day, it's the Haas that deserves the L for, I think, not taking a risk when with the safety car situation. But at the end of the day, I think they would have finished P as the last 2 positions anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think Ocon just had, I don't know, it's hard to rate. It's hard to rate. I'm thinking maybe like a 5. Like, he just had like a bang on average weekend. Like, I can't sit here and be like, oh, yes, Ocon outperformed Behrman in qualifying the race. Because, I mean, qualifying we don't know because Behrman didn't get there. I guess he did outperform in the race. But then, also, we don't know where the Haas is. So, yeah, I'm probably going to say like a 5. Maybe we'll go 5.5 because he kept on track and half the grid didn't. Didn't even have a spin. Can't give him more than a 5 without being in the points for me. Yeah, but also, yeah, we just don't know where the Haas is. He did in the race, left him miles behind. Yeah, true. We need to see more from the Haas to judge, yeah. I think if it's your guys' first time tuning into the driver ratings, I genuinely apologize for how all over the place this is because first race of the season, new drivers, new teams, new pecking order. Then we have qualifying, completely different conditions to the race, and then we have a race which was absolutely chaotic. It's so hard to like genuinely rate so many of these people, but we'll try our best. Yeah, I'm probably gonna. I'll give Ocon a 5.5. I'll give Ocon a 5.5. All right, we'll leave it there. You guys on the poll, majority of you saying a 6 rating. Okay. All right, next up we have got Yuki Tsunoda. Again, this is a tough one. Actually, I think this might be the first. Actually, yeah, I actually think this might be the first non-tough one. All right. Yuki Tsunoda. What do you rate Yuki Tsunoda's 2025? Oh, wait. What the fuck's happened to the poll? One sec. All right, polls up again. Revote. Sorry, I don't know. My keyboard keeps fucking up. Oh yeah, what do you rate Yuki Tsunoda's Australian Grand Prix? Sorry, I missed a message in YouTube chat. I don't get how people can give Liam a 1 and then Ollie a 3. Honestly, I agree with Liam a 1, but like, how is Ollie a 3? He literally destroyed the car. No, that's fair. Like I said, I think if you looked at practice in his weekend as a whole, it's definitely a 1 weekend. But I mean, at the end of the day, he kept on track in the race, and race is always going to be the key takeaway for these ratings. I'd say like when it comes to driver ratings, for me, I'm looking solely at performance. I'm not looking at, definitely not looking at how much I like or dislike a driver. That's stupid. I'm not looking at their standard. I'm not looking at a driver like Max and holding him at a higher standard than a rookie. You know what I mean? I'm just looking at their performances solely. But yeah, also, at the end of the day, Ollie kept on track, and that's what you're going to do in the race. So, yeah. I get he completed the race, but he was dead last and got lapped. And then the whole debacle with Max on that safety car was just so clunky. Yeah, true. 10-second penalty for Ocon. Oh my god. How is that meme still going? How is the 10-second penalty Ocon meme still going? Anyways, talk about Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda, where are we? Qualifying. Oh my god, he's so far up. My eyes went from the bottom of the leaderboard all the way up. Completely forgot. Yuki Tsunoda qualified P5, best of the rest, man. He was only 1/10 off of Russell as well, and was 1/10 ahead of Alex Albon. He fucking smashed it. He outqualified Isaac Hadja by 1/10 in Q2, so nothing too crazy. I think it's more a testament to Hadja and how close he was to Yuki in Q2. But yeah, Q3, Yuki absolutely smashed it. Best of the rest. Awesome stuff. Then in the race, he did awesome. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was trundling. He was at the top of the field, or like he held position for most of that race, right? Actually, let me get the highlights up and have a look.
The time.
Yeah, lap 17, he's in P16 behind Leclerc in a Ferrari. Lap 30, he's position 6. He's 6th position. When all the chaos went down, he got past Leclerc because Leclerc spun. And then he went up to P2 and that whole chaos went down. Honestly, he's done good, man. He's done good. I think he's had an awesome weekend. Best of the rest in qualifying. Best of the rest in in the whole race. Yes, he had a spin, but it's mainly RB that screwed him, leaving him out. Obviously, yeah, he's also in part why that mistake, that decision's made. You know what I mean? Like if you can see it's completely undrivable, you can also tell your team like, I want to pit. So yeah, he's obviously in part with that, at part fault for that. But overall, really good weekend. And I think deserves a high rating. In the end, he did finish outside the points. Again, no fault of his own. Well, sorry, due to that strategy decision. I can't fucking speak right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to give Yuki a 8. I think we obviously knocked 1 point off for the mistakes he made in the wet. The spins, you know, again, even if you are left out in a bad condition, you do need to drive to those conditions, and that lost him more time. And then we'll knock 1 point off for being a part of the reason why that decision was made to stay out. But overall, great pace, best of the rest in qualifying, great race pace. Honestly, I'm really keen to see how Yuki does this season at that V-carb. I think he suits that V-carb really, really nicely, and the V-carb actually looked really strong. I hope the V-carb's performance stays like that coming into China and the rest of the season. So yeah, I'll probably give Yuki an 8. What do you guys think? Majority of you guys saying 7. George Morgan, thank you so much for the raid, dude. I appreciate it. How was your stream? Doing some more F1 Manager, I assume. Welcome in, everyone, from George Morgan stream. We're currently doing our driver ratings for the 2025 Australian Grand Prix. I'm not gonna lie, it's so hard to rate, but we're getting into the more spicier end now as we move up the grid. But yeah, George, thank you for the raid. F1 Bandwagon, Quarius, Ruiz, Mighty, Welly, Mr. Twisty, Fun Waylord, and Nevdrew. Thank you guys all for the follows. Welcome to the stream. Very good. Thank you, mate. I hope you came well. Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm good. I'm really loving stream at the moment. I see you're streaming a lot as well. Is that got the new love for F1 Manager back, or the love for F1 Manager's return? RB screwed him so bad. RB left him out on dry tires. Yeah, Yuki was ahead of Albon until the rain came. Probably would have finished at least 6th if V-carb strategists had brains. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we all seem to agree with a high rating for Yuki, but not high as a 9 or 10, because like at the end of the day, it wasn't perfect, and he's at fault for why everything went the way it did. All right, we're in the poll there. Majority of you guys saying 7. Okay, a bit lower. It's interesting. I'm a bit more harsh on the rookies. You guys are a bit more harsh on the top end of the grid, it seems. Moving on. Next driver, we have got Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly. All right, poll is up for Gasly. What do you rate Pierre Gasly's Australian Grand Prix? Okay, qualifying. He qualified in P9. Again, it's just, I'm going to say this for every driver today, up until we get to the top 3 teams. Hard to rate. We don't know where that Alpine is. And is making Q3 insane, or is making Q3 normal? I mean, he outqualified his teammate Jack Doohan by 7/10, but his teammate is Jack Doohan, so it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, P9 in qualifying. He outqualified Carlos Sainz and Williams. He was right behind Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. I'd say good effort. I'd say pretty solid qualifying. For what we know, I'd say that's maybe expected for the Alpine now, but at the same time, he outperformed, you know, like Liam Lawson, Kimi Antonelli, and better cars. So yeah, pretty good qualifying. The end of the race, if I'm not mistaken, similar to Yuki Tsunoda, kind of held his position. Let's have a look. Let me just skim through the highlights real quick. Yeah, held his position, P9, all the way up until, the safety car came out. Now, this is what I don't remember seeing what happened with Gasly. Okay, so they left him out. Same as Yuki, same as the Ferraris. He actually did the exact same strat as Yuki, except Yuki spun and stayed out another lap. Gasly came in the pits the lap before. So at least Alpine realized, all right, this is fucked now. Let's bring you in. Meanwhile, Ferrari and Yuki stayed out. But in the end, he only managed to finish in P11. Wait, how's he end up finishing behind the Ferraris then? Was that just Ferrari's pace? Oh, yeah, he made that mistake at the end of the race, which let the Ferraris pass. Forgot about that. But yeah, he's finished in P11, just missed out on points. He's obviously beat Yuki. He's thankfully beat the Haas's, but yeah, missed out on points by 4 seconds on Lewis Hamilton. Again, just hard to rate these guys, man. Hard to rate these guys. I don't know. I feel like he had above average weekend, specifically qualifying, keeping on track the whole time. Good race pace. I'm happy to probably give Pierre maybe a 7. Like, I don't think he had the same highs as Yuki, and we're giving him an 8. Like, wasn't as good of a qualifying. Wasn't as good of race pace, but at the end of the day, he finished ahead of Yuki. I think he probably made one less mistake than Yuki. He stayed out one less lap. So, yeah, we'll give him a 7. I think a 7's fair. He threw points for that mistake. True. Yeah, true. Actually, maybe a 6.5. We'll go 6.5. When there is a prediction, it's such an uneven prediction where the return isn't even worth it on some 1.1 shit. Yeah, I can't predict with points in my country sort of stuff. Rip. To be fair, I never predict. It's not worth it. No one else predicts. I only have double your points. I do think sometimes we run predictions on the stream and there's not enough people predicting. But especially like race day and stuff, there's a lot of people predicting. But I do agree the odds are bad. Part of me does feel like maybe I shouldn't do as many drivers as options, so it's not as spread. Wait, you know that doesn't affect the predictions. Even if you have 6 options and everyone put 10k on each, that's the exact same as having 2 options and 30k on each. So, yeah, I like having more options. It does become... I have thought about it, though. Like, when people do channel point predictions, if they see too many options, do they get scared and they're not predict and it becomes more luck? Or, I don't know. I kind of like being, like, doing every drive and then you kind of have to, like, actually think about it. Should be a more even prediction because it's always everyone votes for the most obvious driver. Yeah, but then if you get it right... then... you're going to get a fuckload of points. But also, it doesn't matter if I do who's going to win today's race. Lando, Piastri, someone else, and then everyone votes for Lando. Or I put every single driver on the grid and everyone votes for Lando. It doesn't really change it. I mean, unless you're saying like, oh, Lando was an obvious winner, but I wouldn't say he was. The amount we get back is like 1.1 to 1.2. It depends. If you bet on the lower odds. It's a bit of fun, not that deep with points. No, but I do agree though. Like it's not deep, but at the same time, like I want to maximize predictions best I can. It doesn't work like that. You get the points that are in the given pool. So if everyone just says Lando, you get nothing back rather than your own points. Wait. Yeah, but at the same time, you can't blame me or the people predicting or anything. You can't. That's just the way predictions work. If the prediction's who wins and everyone predicts Lando and Lando wins, I mean, yeah, that's just a dead prediction. We can't really do much about that. But if we go into the rest of the season and it's like heaps of drivers fighting for poles and wins and it's all over the place and you can't predict, then yeah, it's going to be all over the place. But this weekend was a bit more stock standard with Lando. I mean, imagine Max won that race. Whoever, the 20% of people who predicted Max would have got heaps of points. Better predictions would be example teammate predictions, would be close to 50-50. Other than McLaren, what's a 50-50 prediction on the grid? Williams, McLaren, that's about it. Everything else is still going to be one-sided and it would still cause the exact same problem. Anyways, I disagree with I get where you're coming from, but I disagree because at the end of the day, you can't help a prediction when we're basing off of real-life Formula 1. You can't help a prediction more being one-sided just because, like, that's the way sport works, I guess. was an example of whoever's in a fight for a championship or whether a driver will get points in the weekend. Yeah, I get you. But, I mean, this season should be so good to the point where, like, hopefully we'll come into a race and it's like, who will win? Lando, Oscar, Max, George, and we'll actually have, like, different winners as well. So if you are silly and just keep predicting Lando every single week for a 1.1x payout, you're gonna get messed up sometimes. Anyways, back to this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give Gasly a 6.5. What are you guys saying? Majority of you guys saying 6 as well. All right, we'll move on from the Gaz man. Next up, we have got onto the top 10 now. We've got Lewis Hamilton in his first race for Ferrari. All right, poll is up for Lewis Hamilton. What do you guys rate Lewis Hamilton's Oz GP? Don't want to keep this going, but that's literally why no one bets. The system discourages you from betting. I don't think that's the reason, Glopham. I think it's the reason why. I think it's the reason why some people don't bet as much. But you got to remember, like, half the countries in the world are banned from channel points predictions. So that's why. That's why. It's just the way it is. And it's meant to be a gamble. It's not meant to be like a... It's not meant to be... I don't think a prediction should ever be you put 200k points and then you get 400k back. It should always be like, oh, if I put 200k, I could get 50k back here, or I could bet low, but it's a bit more risky option. Like, that's how real gambling works. All right. Anyways, Lewis Hamilton. Let's talk about him. So in qualifying, he qualified P10. He did make it through to Q3, which is expected. Wait, I'm looking at the race. Sorry, he did make it through to Q3, but he got out-qualified by Leclerc by 2/10. Now, I found it interesting. He got out-qualified by Leclerc by 2/10, and Leclerc set, and that was a banker lap that Leclerc set on used tires. And Lewis set his lap on fresh tires at the end of the session, and he goes, "Oh, I'm happy with that lap." Are you though? You're 2/10 off Leclerc. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Maybe he didn't realize that was Leclerc's bank lap. So I thought it was a pretty underwhelming qualifying for Lewis. But at the end of the day, despite it being underwhelming, he was still only one position behind Leclerc. And then in the race, he kind of let people, he kind of off the start didn't really go for a move on Leclerc. Kind of let people overtake him, specifically Piastri on that last lap. Didn't really do anything wrong. I think Lewis really showed his experience, kept the car on track, didn't make any mistakes. Typical Lewis and Leclerc, though, I think kind of banking on the team to have a good strategy. I mean, Lewis is probably going to change his approach now, but as we saw with Carlos Sainz, like with Ferrari especially, you have to kind of take lead on like, all right, these are the conditions, this is what I want to do. And Lewis didn't do that, staying out, taking the big risk, and then in the end not benefiting from it, finishing 2 positions down on where he qualified, 3 seconds down on Leclerc, got overtaken by Piastri on that last lap, so ended up getting 1 point. Overall, just a mud weekend for Ferrari. Their car didn't look as strong as it should have been. And I don't think Leclerc and Lewis performed at the normal levels that they perform at. So yeah, just overall mid-weekend. I think Lewis's race pace looked pretty good in comparison to Leclerc. If I'm not mistaken, he was never like way too far off Leclerc. It was just that quality pace. It's just Lewis's quality pace, man. It's just Lewis's quality pace. With that said, I'm gonna probably give Lewis, I don't know. You guys are giving him a 5? 5 is average. 5 is, you didn't do anything bad, you didn't do anything good. But I don't think Lewis did good in qualifying. And he only ended up getting 1 point, letting Oscar Piastri overtake him. I'm probably going to give him a 4. I'm probably going to give him a 4, to be honest. I think average would have been finishing just behind Leclerc, which he didn't. Y'all have low standards for Lewis Lamel. Yeah. I know. Yeah, he finished 3 seconds down on his teammate in the race, which isn't bad, but he let Piastri get past. And he got out-qualified with Leclerc on used tires on a banker lap. There's probably even an argument you could go lower for this, but the fact that he kept on track, didn't make a mistake, you know, got fucked over by the strategy, but again, you also play a part in the strategy. I think 4 is fair. I'm going to stick to 4. I'm going to let you guys voting 5. Change my mind. To be honest, the Ferrari was probably no better with the new tires. Yeah, true. The worst thing is that the Ferrari set up their car for wet and it went backwards. Yeah, exactly, Rishi. Exactly. Yeah, maybe you're right. We're giving him a 4. 4 to 5 is fair. It wasn't a stellar quality race, so underwhelming. It's 3 or 4. If RB hadn't messed Yuki up, then he'd be out of the points. Yeah, that as well. I'd say +1 for keeping it on track and not making a mistake in those conditions. Yeah, that's why I think instead of a 3, I'll give him a 4. All right. Moving on from Lewis. Majority of you guys saying a 5 though. All right, next up we have got Oscar Piastri. Ooh. Let me get the poll up real quick. Wait a sec. All right, polls up for Piastri. What do you guys rate Oscar Piastri's performance this weekend? Interesting one. Qualifying. Got qualified by his teammate by 1/10, which I think is like okay. I think that's normal. That's like, what would you guys say? If you're 1/10 off your teammate in qualifying, is that good or bad? Or average? Like, what is like, what is like the amount of time you would give a driver from their teammate to be like, that's average? Like, good is good. Well, good is beating them, isn't it? Great is beating them. Great is beating them by a lot. Good is just beating them. Average is probably like on par. Yeah. It's a tough one, right? Because like being 1/10 off your teammate isn't bad, but at the same time, like, I mean, you are getting out qualified by your teammate. Depends on how good the teammate is. Yeah, exactly. I think 1/10 to Lando is good. Is okay. He still put it on the front row. Yeah, exactly. He still put it on the front row. 3/10 ahead of Max Verstappen. P2, 1/10 off Lando. Overall, I think good qualifying. He obviously made that mistake on his banker lap. Again, we've come into the season going, McLaren, you need to tidy up the mistakes. And they both made a mistake on their banker laps. At the end of the day, thankfully, it didn't affect him. And he still got front row. 1/10 off of his teammate. Then in the race, he drove a great race, had an amazing race start, got up alongside Lando Norris, was going to go for the move, and obviously didn't because it was his teammate. Lost the position actually to Max Verstappen after that, which was quite bad. He got back past Max because of Max making a mistake. I think he probably would have got past anyway because of how quick that McLaren was and how much Max fell off. But yeah, the reason he got past was because Max made that mistake. He then had amazing pace. He caught up to Lando, wasn't able to go for the move, but then he made that mistake, which caused him to drop 3 seconds back. Then the rain started to hit. He made a mistake, went wide, completely lost the car, spun around in a circle, got stuck, came back in the pits, pitted, and ended up finishing P9 and beating Lewis. So, I mean, it's a positive that he beat Lewis. I don't know. Now that I think about it, it's actually kind of mid. It was actually kind of a mid-weekend for Piastri. Outqualified by your teammate, which is fine. Poor race start. Gets the position because Max made a mistake. Makes a mistake, which drops him 3 seconds behind Lando. And doesn't allow him to fight for the win. Keep in mind, we thought Piastri wasn't allowed to overtake Lando. We've now found out that he was told not to overtake while they were lapping cars. And then that radio where we heard you can battle now, that was said before he made the mistake. So he genuinely just made a mistake pushing too hard to try and get Lando. And then, yeah, he's made that mistake that's caused him to spin around in a circle and completely mess up his race. And then he's finished in P9. And you guys are giving him a 7 and a 6. No way Lewis got a 4. What are you saying? It's too high or too low? This is a tough one. His own mistake cost him the race. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to give Piastri probably a 4 or 5 as well. Lewis is a 6. The engineer was a 2. Lewis is a 4. Piastri's a 5. Yeah, so I'm thinking Lewis was underwhelming in qualifying. Piastri was good in qualifying. Or like, okay, good. Well, like on par, where he should be. Let's say that, on par where he should be in qualifying. But while Lewis kind of just did his own thing in the race, didn't make a mistake. But wait, when you think about it, Leclerc made a mistake in the race, spun, and Lewis still finished behind him. Anyways, Lewis kind of did his own thing and kept it clean, whereas Piastri had way better highs. Better high in qualifying, better high in race pace, better high in obviously the finishing position. But multiple mistakes in both sessions, specifically a mistake that cost him P2. It's hard. I think results-wise, this is like a 3 for Piastri. Performance-wise, I think it's like a 7. Overall, I think it's like a 5. I'm going to say 5. I'm going to go smack bang in the middle. Simply as the best car and points get offered in the race, and he bottled it. And McLaren should be a bare minimum. Yeah. Okay. Let's change the story around, right? It's Oscar Piastri in his home race and eliminate qualifying, right? Lance Stroll in the fastest car messes up the race start and lets his opponent go through. Gets given the position because the driver in front of him made a mistake. Then makes a mistake and isn't able to fight his teammate for the win. Then makes a mistake and drops to the back of the grid. Then is able to get a couple positions, move up the grid to finish, to get 2 points in the fastest car in the grid. If we were talking about Stroll here, I think they get a 3. I think they get a 3. So why does it change for Piastri? Just 5 is a crime. Just unlucky he got stuck. But he put himself in the position to get stuck. I mean, but it is also like, it's not unlucky, but it's like rough conditions for them to go off. Don't forget it took a crazy race and a few safety cars to get back in the quickest car. Yeah, true. Piastri got overtaken by Max. Let's not forget about that. Yeah, if Norris was the one who lost the race after going off and spinning, people would have given him a 2. Yeah, probably. You know what? This is why we hop on stream to do the ratings. I think maybe a 4. Some mistakes as the race winner. Lando just luckily found the track a few meters earlier. Maybe I'll lower it down to a 4. But then Lewis also didn't have a good... 4.5. Same race pace as Lando, though. Stroll wouldn't do that. 5 is fair. I go 4.5. At the end of the day, fastest car on the grid, finished 9th. Not only fastest car on the grid, but could have won the race. He not only didn't win the race because of his mistake, he also didn't... Like, take out the end of the race, right? Take out the end of the race of him spinning and getting stuck, right? He still made a mistake, which cost him the win. But then he also made another mistake, which cost him 2nd place. So, yeah. He deserves a 10 for stalling the race for the rain to come. He should have stalled more, though, because it literally poured down after the podium. I'm going to go 4.5. I'm going to leave it at that. I think this does depend how you look at Formula 1 as a whole. Like, and it also depends on your ratings. Again, I look at qualifying and race ratings. And at the end of the day, the fastest car, and he finished in a P9. It's really rough conditions, but just like we gave 2 to all the rookies who crashed, because yes, it's fucking tough conditions, but you crashed. We've also got to go, well, look, Piastri, it was tough conditions, but you lost the car and finished P9. It's hard, man. I can't believe... I was hoping for a banging first driver rating session. Everyone who's new tuning into the driver ratings for the first time goes, fuck yeah, this is sick. I'll come back next week for China. Now we're sitting here and every single driver's like, I mean, they could be a 3, but they could be a 1, but they could be a 5. And it's like, bro, it's too hard. We don't know the pecking order, the changing conditions. Everyone fucking sucked. It's too hard, man. It's too hard. I'm gonna leave it 4.5. I'll leave it 4.5. How did fantasy go? We looked at fantasy earlier. It did not go good for me. Good for me. Donny JD and the Lado Snoof. Thank you guys for the follows. Welcome to the stream. Reroll ratings last time. I did double points thing on Oscar. Yeah, same. I saw some people saying it's still his 3rd season. In my opinion, that can't be an excuse anymore. I mean, this is the world we live in, the way of the deuce. We've got people like Liam Lawson and Ollie Behrman and all this, and it's like, don't care. Like, they know how to drive a Formula One car, and then you've got other people defending drivers like Oscar Piastri, because it's his third season, and it's just like, or you got people like Liam like defending Lewis. Like there's 3 levels to it, man. There's still 3 levels to it. Like you've even got Lewis Hamilton, who is a 7-time champ who's been in the sport for 15 years, and they'll be like, yeah, but it's his first time in that car. But then they'll go shit on another driver because it's their 11th race in the sport at a new team. It's just like, I don't know, man. The inconsistencies across drivers. What do you guys think about this? Maybe some of you guys don't go on social media. I think this season is the most like spread everyone's opinions have been, and how for drivers. And I think this is the most I've seen fan bias play into general performance talk ever. Like genuinely, like again, the rookies are being treated differently, are being like, even between the rookies, like Jack Doohan will get criticized more than Isaac Hadjar, and they made the same mistake. And like, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Oh, but Jack's done 1 race. But then they won't use that to defend a driver who's gone to a new team. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't know. Like 2021 was a frustrating season in the sense of like every little thing just became dramatic and just overboard. We're already 1 race deep, and I'm already like, fuck me. Like, what is happening, bro? Like, it's so polarizing. It is so polarizing. Piastri's PR is actually insane. This is the most polarizing scene. Yeah, 100%, 100%. This is the strongest grid on ability that F1 has ever had. I agree with you on the potential side of things. The reason I don't agree with you now is because we don't actually know how good Antonelli's going to be. We don't know how good Liam's going to be in that Red Bull. We don't know how good Behrman's going to be. Actually, you know what? I agree with you from a talent standpoint. I think Kimi's an amazing talent. I think Liam's an amazing talent. I think Behrman's an amazing talent. Bortoletto's a 2-time champ. I mean, Doohan and Hadjar, they're probably the 2 unknowns. So from a talent standpoint, I agree. But it's, how's Kimi going to do as a young kid in Mercedes for the first time? How's Liam going to use that talent in a super tricky to drive Red Bull? How's Behrman going to do in a shitty dog shit Haas? And how's Bortoletto going to do in a Sauber? So I agree. It has the potential to be one of the best, strongest grids of all time, but it doesn't. Well, we just have to see how it plays out. Absolutely agree. Inconsistency is insane. Yeah. There's so many rookies this time. Yeah, but all the rookies are strong. I mean, I know some people are like, oh, Jack Doohan's the next Latifi and Liam Lawson is the next Sergio Perez. But it's just like, okay, let's wait until after 1 race. Going Twitter after the race was scary. The thing is, I love Twitter, man. I love Twitter. The first like 2 hours after a race, I love Twitter. It's just memes. And then after like 2 hours, it's all the like, it's just the people who just sit on Twitter and they just start barking at each other. And it's like, it's wild, man. It's wild. Not Smarty. Thank you so much for the sub, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Appreciate you supporting the stream. Thank you for coming to the Prime. Thank you. Russia Sochi 2021 was Lando's 3rd year as well. Yeah, actually, that's a really good point, Rosa. That's a really good point. People just need to be consistent. Like, how have you felt about Lando? Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I remember Russia 2021. I criticized Lando. It was sad, but I criticized Lando. Like, you shouldn't be making those mistakes. But other people will defend him. And then those same Lando fans will go to Piastri and be like, it's his 3rd year. He should be good by now. But you're also defending Lando in his 3rd year at Sochi. So, yeah, you make a really good point, Rosa. Again, it's just consistency, man. It's just consistency. They'll use one argument to defend Lewis, but then you contradict themselves to attack Liam or Doohan or whoever it might be. It's just, it's wild. It's wild. I mean, it's the same with Liam 2023 Singapore. Everyone was like, oh my God, he knocked out Max. Like, bro, the same people hating him now. Yeah, exactly. I defended Lando for Russia 21 for sure. I'm not surprised so many spins and crashes when no one had tested the new inters that were used. Yeah, exactly. That was a very underrated talking point, Eric the Viking. I completely forgot about that until like 2 minutes until the race started. All right, we'll move on. We're only up to 9th place, so let's keep going. Next up In the driver ratings, we have got Charles Leclerc. Let's get the poll up. You guys, majority of you guys voting 6 for Oscar Piastri, by the way. Not Lando Norris. What the fuck? Why am I typing his name? Wait for the poll to go up first, guys. Wait for the poll. Wait for the poll. All right, poll's up now. What do you rate Charles Leclerc's Australian Grand Prix? I've said this about every driver. It's just hard to rate, man. It's just hard to rate. So in qualifying, Leclerc qualified P7. He outqualified his teammate by 2/10. But that lap was a banker lap on used tires. So what happened on his final lap? Did he mess up? Did he get traffic? What happened? I feel bad now for talking shit about Doohan's qualifying, forgetting that he got impeded. Fister, what's up? Welcome to the stream. By the way, appreciate everyone tuning into the drive ratings today. Apologize, it's all over the place with such a fucking... The ratings are all over the place with such a fucking weird Grand Prix, but I guess we can use this as like a way to kind of just like set the basis for the year a little bit and just chat about the drivers in particular. At the end of the day, the way I want to do driver ratings is more like we just talk about the drivers and how they do, and then the ratings are not secondary, but it's more kind of just like a bit of fun, a bit more to like for the discussion. It's not meant to be like a hard like you know, fuck me. Sometimes I see people post like Matt and Tommy or like Tomo's like driver ratings on Twitter and like, these guys are so fucking dumb. How are they this, that? And I'm like, bro, they're just having combos. The ratings are just like kind of like a little side thing. Yeah. So I'm always like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I always want to make, and I used to do this. I used to do my driver ratings off stream, and then I'd come on stream, tell you my driver ratings, and then like justify them. And it's just like, I'm too particular with making sure my ratings are perfect. But also in the back of your mind, you're just like, oh, you don't want people to think you're dumb. But it's like, bruh, let's just have good convos, and just the ratings can be second. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in for drive ratings. Trust me, as the season goes on, it will be a lot better. But this race was crazy. Who the fuck said 9? Anyways, Leclerc. Sorry, focus. Leclerc qualified P7. Oh no, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for someone to tell me in chat why his lap was bad. Was still on used tires. Ham spin. He only had one set of new tires and used them in the first run. Oh. So his second run, why was the second run shit? Or was it just, yeah, that you ran out? Oh, okay. All right. Whack. Okay. So yeah, 7 in a Ferrari. Maybe that's going to be Ferrari standards this year, but I don't think it will be. I think he should have been up there behind Russell, but the tires situation didn't let him, which sucks for him. And then in the race, he finished P8, one position down on where he started. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, in the race, he got that... he lost out to Lewis on the start, and then... No, what the fuck am I saying? It was Lewis who went for the move. No, what even happened to Leclerc in the race? Nothing, man. Literally fucking nothing happened. Ferrari strategy, simple as that. Yeah, I think Leclerc just cruised around. Actually, let me skim through the highlights. Oh, Leclerc got past Tsunoda at one point and was in P5 where he should have been. Whilst Hamilton was cruising around in P8. Oh, yeah, actually, Leclerc really did outdrive Lewis. And then they both stayed out. I think what happened was Leclerc's performance on Lewis kind of got underlooked because he spun, and that let Leclerc through. Sorry, that let Lewis through before the pit. But then he ended up coming out before and finishing ahead of Lewis anyway. Yeah, what do we give Lewis? A 4? I don't know. Probably like given the circumstances, it's not his fault they didn't have enough tires. He actually drove well. Ferrari fucked up. I don't know, maybe like a 5.5? 6? 5.5, 6? Yeah. His qualifying was bad, not because of his fault at all. Those tires were poo, and he outqualified Lewis on those tires by 2/10. He then was cruising around in P5, which was probably the best he could have done. And then the rain came, and yes, obviously he's at fault for being a part of the reason why the strategy was bad, but mostly it's Ferrari's fault. And then he did have a spin, yes. But he finished P8 ahead of Piastri and Lewis. I'm thinking 5.5. I'm thinking 5.5. It was just above average. Just above average. He could have done much. I don't think he could have done much more than 50. He qualified ahead of Lewis, overtook him back, but loses -1 for the spin. The result was far more on the team than him, so 6, yeah. Mid-ball race, to be honest, 5, take away the 0.5. I don't know, I'm thinking upping it to a 6. Ooh, I don't know. There are barely any races in 2020 as well, so you cannot really count seasons, but races. Yeah, true, Junior, true. Hi, everyone, new to the channel. These ratings seems interesting. What's up, Fatima? Welcome in. Charles and Lewis thought bad strategies would be over, but they weren't right, unfortunately. Yeah. You know, I think I'm going to up Leclerc to 6. I think his qualifying wasn't his fault. I think the race, he did the best he could until the strategy situation. I'm obviously going to knock points off for the spin and knock points off for him being a little part in that strategy. But overall, I think mostly it wasn't his fault. He got 8th in a Ferrari in a race where 6 people DNF'd and there was crazy strategy. Yeah, but it's not his fault, though. It's not really his fault. I think it's more down to Ferrari a little bit. His race pace looked good. He was outperforming Lewis. Do you guys know roughly how teams stack up? Like, fastest McLaren, but what about second and third? Honestly, protocol, no clue. That's what makes China so exciting, is like, we're actually going to see the proper pecking order for once. 5 is an average race. Didn't make too much progress. Interesting. Okay. Well, everyone's torn between like 5 and 6. I'm going to go 6. We're in the poll there. Can't wait for China yet. I am so glad we got a double header, man. Imagine having to wait a fucking week. Oh my god. All right, next up, we have got Nico Hulkenberg. Let's get the poll up. Nico Hulkenberg. All right, what do you rate Nico Hulkenberg's Australian Grand Prix? One second, I'm just going to shut my window. Is it a double header or a triple header? It's double header, then a week break, then a triple header. Can't believe we got a triple header at the start of the season. We used to pray for times like these. All right. So Nico in qualifying, got out qualified by Bortoleto. That was probably the biggest stinker or the biggest weakness, down point of his weekend. Getting out qualified by Bortoleto by 60 milliseconds. Bortoleto makes it through to Q2. He ends up going out in Q1 behind Antonelli as well. It was very tight. But yeah, I don't think you should be getting shown up by a rookie like that. Also, I just want to say, by the way, I said before how I don't take like someone being a rookie or like someone being a GOAT into consideration in my ratings. We just solely rate their performance. But that's when I'm rating the driver themselves. When it comes to comparing them to their teammate, like, yes, of course, Nico Hulkenberg is going to get a lower rating because he gets outperformed by a rookie. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, he gets outperformed by a rookie on their debut in qualifying. I don't think that's great. So he started the race in P17. But he managed to work his way up the grid. I think he made some nice moves in the race. Let me have a look at the highlights. I mean, he didn't crash, that's for sure. Yeah, he moved himself up ahead of Bortoleto. When did he get ahead of Bortoleto? Was that on the race start? Yeah, he's ahead of Bortoleto and Antonelli after the first lap. Yeah, off the race start. So good race start. And then he chills ahead of Bortoleto for the whole race, and he was 4 seconds ahead of Bortoleto when Alonso crashed. And then he made the right decision, kept it clean, and ended up getting past. No, he didn't get past Stroll, and he finished in P7. Oh no, solid weekend from Hulkenberg. I'd say like partly lucked out a little bit, like not lucked out, but like benefited from Ferrari and Piastri throwing. But at the end of the day, he kept it clean. I still think his qualifying was disappointing, and I still think, you know, he wasn't able to get past Stroll, but then Stroll was in probably a quicker car. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe like an 8. Like, my socks weren't blown away. I think it would be higher if he had beaten Bortoleto in qualifying. but him losing to Bortoleto in qualifying makes the race feel more lucky. Not saying he was lucky, but I'm saying it feels more lucky when you have a poor qualifying like that. He did nothing. Start on God. Him being 7th is a great example of why the excuse it wasn't his fault doesn't mean anything. I think got overtaken by Antonelli twice. Yeah, but Antonelli's in a Mercedes. Antonelli's in a Mercedes. He's in a fucking Sauber, mate. Maximum of him, he should be thanking the heavens the rain came. He had a banger this time around, just a mistake in quali. What was the mistake he made in qualifying again? What a drive, was incredible. He did get out-qualified by his rookie teammate and made up a lot of positions because of the DNS, but kept on track and scored points. Yeah, I'll say 8. I'll say 8. What's bra, Ashton? What's bra? Guys, what we giving Stroll? Well, we're going to rate Stroll next, so stick around, stick around. They got great photographers who shoot goated photo shoots at least. Wait, who's that for, Ashton? Who put 10? Yeah. All right. I don't think I have much more to say about Hulkenberg. Majority agreeing with an 8. Is that like the first time we've agreed on a rating? All right, we'll move on. We'll move on. Next up, we have got... Watch all the viewers go down. We're up to Stroll. What do we give Stroll? Let me get the poll up. All right, polls up for Lance. What do you guys rate Lance's 2025 Australian Grand Prix? So qualifying, he got out qualified by Alonso by 40 milliseconds, but I think for Stroll standards, that's pretty good. Obviously, I'm not going to take that into considerations in the ratings, but yeah, matched his teammate. It's kind of hard to tell right now where the Aston Martin is. Like, is their best kind of on the edge of points? Should they be making Q3, or were they actually really good and making it out of Q1? I think, to be honest, I think they qualified where they should have. So for Stroll, good quality or decent quality. Right on his teammate in the position he should be. Then in the race, surprisingly, kept it clean the whole race. Made the right decision, I think. When did he pit? Did he pit the same lap as Lando? Yep, he pit the same lap as Lando, so made the perfect decision with his team. Again, 50% his team, 50% him for making that decision. And then, yeah, cruised it all the way to AP6. Second best of the rest, behind Albon, of course. Beating Hulkenberg, beating out the Ferraris, beating out McLaren. Honestly, man, Stroll had a good weekend. Stroll had a good weekend. I can't believe I'm saying it. I don't know. I feel like maybe like an 8.5 is quite nice for Stroll. I can't. We gave someone an 8 before. Who did we give an 8? Wait, who did I just give an 8? I gave Hulkenberg an 8. I think he did better than Hulkenberg. I think it's got to be an 8.5. Hulkenberg got out-qualified by his teammate. So did Stroll. But Hulkenberg's teammate was a rookie on debut. And Stroll matched his teammate. And Stroll finished one position ahead of him. Yeah, to be fair, Aston Martin's probably a quicker car, but I don't know. I'm happy with Stroll's performance. Only 8.5. Only 8.5. What would have got him a higher rating? 9 probably would have... He probably would have got a 9 if he beat Alonso in qualifying. And 10 would have been beating Albon. I think that's the way he gets a 10. So I think 8.5 is fair. I think 8.5 is fair. Here's one of the very few drivers who did literally nothing this weekend. Getting out qualified by Alonso is the only thing that makes it a 9. He did... Wait, what do you mean he did literally... wait, I'm confused. He did literally nothing, and then you're saying he should get a 9. I thought you were going to be like, he gets a 4 for doing nothing. Do you take team strategy for ratings? Well, it depends on your opinion. It's really your opinion. For me, I feel like when it comes to these... Oh, he did nothing wrong. Sorry. I always do that. I always miss a word. Yeah, I think when it comes to team strategy, it's your opinion. Some people think 100% the team. It's 100% the team's fault. Some people think it's the driver's fault for listening to the team. I think it's 50-50. I think in this situation of this race, your team has the weather radar. They have the information of all the other drivers, the timing sheets, blah, blah, blah. But as a driver, and Carlos Sainz is really good at doing this, and he even said it today, it's like, you can just look outside and be like, if this happens, I need to do this. If this happens, I need to do this. And you just need to communicate with your team. And, you know, Stroll at the end of the day, listen to what his team said. went, okay, it's raining, I'm going to pit. And he made the right decision. And it takes both parties to do that. If Stroll then goes, I'm not going to listen to my team and I'm not going to pit, then yeah, that's his fault. But if you listen to your team and it's the wrong decision, I think it's down to the driver a little bit as well for not looking at the track and being like, well, it's fucking pissing down, I need to pit. I don't know, it's hard. I think it's 50-50. It really depends on the situation. Hello, new to the stream. What's up, Esme? You're new to the stream, but you got a sub badge. You must have got gifted a sub. Welcome. What's up, Fish? But his performance, I would say, is 8.5 for staying clean, even if he is a 1. L driver, get out of Essen. Yeah. Dude, we've started this race, everyone's like, you know, predictions, everything coming into it, just thrown out the window. Even between qualifying and the race, like, you know, Behrman, for instance, Crash Merchant crashing every single session, somehow didn't crash the entirety of the race. And then you got someone like Lance Stroll, Crash Merchant, somehow didn't crash during the race. Like, how is that even possible? Stroll uncringed himself in Australia. Okay. He was a 10th of his teammate in quality and got P6, made no mistakes. But y'all are not giving higher than 8. Like, come on, let's be fair. Yeah, I agree. Lance did nothing. Anonymous race, and his position is only because of the others' mistakes. So his only achievement is to stay on track. So it's definitely... I think this is where a race like this, you kind of have to tailor your ratings based on everyone else. If that makes sense. Like, in a normal race, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, yeah, he only did well because other drivers made a mistake. But in this race, if half the grid crash out of the race, you have to give props to the other half for keeping on track. You can't just be like, yeah, well, he didn't really do anything. Everyone else crashed. But he did something by not crashing in this case. Stroll always becomes Senna when he senses rain. 70 to 80% on the team radio, in my opinion. They have all the data, all the brains responsible for the call. I agree. Other than the fact that the driver has the feeling of those conditions. And I could look outside in the pit lane and be like, it's pissing down. But the rest of the track could be dry and very drivable. And then you pit on Tinters and you're only quick on one straight. The driver has to report like this is the way I see it. The driver has to go around and be like, rain turn 2, rain turn 3, rain turn 4, it's dry 6, it's dry 7, it's dry 8, dry 9. And then they go, all right, last sector's raining. And then they have to make the decision, like, do we pit or not? Collectively, I don't know. It's hard, man. It's fucking hard. It's what makes Formula 1 so good. I read this interview was like, so Stroll, how did it go? I drove and didn't crash. Yeah, stairs. Like, no, he genuinely, he literally said, yeah, well, like, yeah, I'm happy with P6. Yeah, that was literally what it was. He didn't even, like, smile. Stroll World Drivers Championship incoming. He's quite good in rain, to be honest, yeah. Now, Stroll, please do this for 18 more races. I do think Stroll's getting... he's always been overhated. I'm not saying he's better. He's going to be near or matching Alonso. Absolutely not. But I think with the Aston being such a poo car, I do think Alonso's going to try a lot less than he normally does. I'm not saying he just doesn't give a fuck, but I mean, like, you're going to take more risks and you're just naturally going to put more effort in when your car is just not as good. So yeah, I think that's what's going to allow Stroll to look not as bad as normal, but yeah. He was really happy on the radio. Yeah, he was very happy on the radio. Yeah, but in the interview, it's a bit more normal. Most normal Stroll race. I hope this result motivates him. Yeah, exactly. I feel Alonso has kind of slowed down since 2023. Yeah, slightly. But again, I think it just comes back to the car. I think, this is my logic. I think if you give Alonso a championship winning car, he will beat Stroll 9.99 times out of 10. And he will push that car to the maximum every single race. But I think if you give him a shitter car, he goes into qualies going, fuck it, I'll just try this. And then he makes a mistake. And it is what it is. Obviously, there's going to be qualifying where he's absolutely mega, and same with the race. But I think overall, it's just like partly tries too much, but also there's some races where he's just like, whatever, our car sucks. Just came back and you're still on Stroll. Yeah, man, we're going to keep talking about Stroll. He had a good race. But we will move on. Majority of you guys saying an 8. Good. We agree again. All right, moving on. Next driver, we have Alex Albon. Oh, big rating incoming. All right, poll up for Alex Albon. What do you rate his Australian Grand Prix? What a weekend. What a weekend for the man. In qualifying, he qualified P6. Best he could do other than beating Yuki. He outqualified Carlos Sainz by 0.3. But he did get outqualified by Yuki by 1/10. So I'm going to say a 9.5. 9 for qualifying. It didn't do anything wrong. Just got outqualified by Yuki. Simple as that. And then in the race, let me just quickly look at the race start. What did he do on the race start? He started P6. Oh, okay. Yuki and Albon lost out to Leclerc on the race start. I'm not sure what happened there, but I mean, Leclerc's in a Ferrari, so it makes sense. And he trundled behind Tsunoda the entire time. And then he got past Tsunoda with the pit stop situation. And then kept it clean the entire time. And got overtaken by Antonelli. Was it on the last lap? He got overtaken by Antonelli? Oh no, towards the end of the race. Anyways, I'm obviously being nitpicky. I think Albon had a phenomenal weekend. Great in qualifying, great in the race. I think at the end of the day, I can't give him a 10. Even though I do feel like he potentially outperformed the car, I don't think I can give him a 10 just because it wasn't... We don't know where the Williams is. And at the end of the day, he got outqualified by Tsunoda. And he was stuck behind Tsunoda the whole race. And then got overtaken by Antonelli with the last laps. Yeah, I'm gonna go 9. It's a 10? 10? I don't think it'd be a 10. I think if you're in a Williams and the best position you can get is best of the rest, if you get P2, that's right. If he gets outqualified by Yuki, that's like giving Oscar Piastri a 10 for qualifying P2. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then he was also stuck behind Tsunoda the whole race. And then he got overtaken by Kimi Antonelli. Don't be wrong. I'm not saying he had a bad race. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he had a bad race. Albon was phenomenal, but it's not a 10. I don't think it's a 10. Maybe a 9.5, but I don't think it's a 10, personally. What do you guys think, though? Majority saying 9, a few people saying 10. What did he actually do wrong? Exactly. He didn't really do anything wrong. It was more Yuki just did better. It also sucked we didn't get to compare him to Sainz because Sainz just fell asleep in qualifying and fucking fell asleep in the race. Oliver, what's up, dude? Izzy B, welcome to the stream, guys. Outqualified Sainz only lost out to Mercedes, Max, and Lando. No big mistakes if that's not a 10. I don't know. Well, he did lose out to Yuki in quali, and he was losing out to Yuki in the race. I mean, look, to be fair, he did finish ahead of Yuki in the race. But he also let Kimi overtake him on that last lap. I would have liked to have seen him defend. The same thing I said about Lewis and the Piastri move. I feel like Albon could have defended Kimi there to keep that position. But Kimi was fast. I think he was going to get it done regardless, to be honest. We don't know, but for sure, it's not faster than Merc, Max, or Norris. No, that's true. That's true. But we don't know exactly how fast it is. 10. In a Williams. Yeah, but that Williams isn't an old Williams. This Williams is now a good Williams. It's best of the rest. You get a toe for quali, but the RB and Williams are probably similar on pace. We don't know yet. You got a toe, and we don't know if the Williams is as fast as the V Cup. Yuki's in a different car. That's not comparable. Oh, it's absolutely comparable because they're both in a best of rest fight, and he got outqualified by Yuki. Kimi had a penalty either way. Oh, the penalty got reinstated. If you didn't know. Oh, unless you're saying like he didn't try to battle Kimi because he knew Kimi had a pen. That's a good point, actually. But always put up the fight. Always put up the fight. You never know. You never know. Yeah, I can see an argument for a 10. Sorry, for a 9.5, but I don't think a 10. I don't think a 10, personally. 10 needs to be out-qualifying Yuki and out-racing Yuki, which he didn't. Again, amazing result. Fucking amazing result for Albon. But I'm very strict. If we start giving 10s to Albon getting out-qualified by Yuki and out-raced by Yuki, then we may as well start giving 10s to any driver who wins the race. So if Racing Bull don't choke the strategy and Yuki finishes ahead of Albon, do people still say Albon 10? Changing Albon's rating based on another team's strategy. No, I'm not giving... Wait, so if Racing Bull don't choke the strategy and Yuki finishes ahead of Albon, do people still say Albon 10? Cheney. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the people who give Albon a 10. Yeah, I agree, Ludacris. Exactly. Talk about that. The people that said, yeah, no, I agree. Well, but I'm also like, does he deserve a 9.5? He did well, man. He did well. This might be one where maybe later on in the season or in a couple races time, I'll come back and be like, maybe Albon did deserve a 9.5 because that Williams isn't as good as we think. But this weekend, I think Williams was best of the rest by a long shot. Like, I think he should have out-qualified Yuki. I think he should have outraced Yuki. It's not that you can Alex drive the same car, though. Exactly. They don't drive the same car. I think Albon drives a better car. Anyways, I think it's one that people are going to disagree on. But at the end of the day, we're deciding between a 9 or a 10. This man did fucking very good. So we'll leave it at a 9. I'm going to leave it at a 9 and move on. Majority of you guys saying 9 as well. 30% saying 10. A couple people saying 8. All right, moving on. Next driver. We have got Kimi Antonelli in his debut Grand Prix weekend. Now, keep in mind, we are rating the entire Grand Prix. We are rating qualifying and the race. Poll is up. What do you guys rate Kimi Antonelli's weekend? Yeah, Kimi, this fucking GV guy, bro. Starfall, name of the follow. Kimi, man, what a race. Let's talk about qualifying first, though. He came into qualifying, pushed a bit too hard, went out on the curb, and gave himself floor damage. At the end of the day, that's his fault. Is it unlucky? Yes, 100%. You kind of got a 50-50 that curb. He just happened to 50-50 it a little bit too much, broke his floor, fucked his qualifying, ended up going out on 16th. Even with that banker lap, he still out-qualified Nico Hulkenberg and Liam Lawson. But overall, he did go out in Q1. Then, in the race, he kept it clean. You know, I think he's the only driver who didn't make... No, I take that back. I was going to say he's the only driver who didn't make a mistake in the race. He did make mistakes in the race. He made... Did he spin twice in the race, I think? Either way, he spun in the race, recovered so well, instantly got back up to Hulkenberg, instantly got back past him. He showed, like, almost scarily, he scarily has too much confidence. Like, most drivers spin, and their confidence is fucking shot. But he spun and was just instantly on the back of Hulkenberg, got past, and then even later on in the race, we saw that amazing overtake on Albon. It's almost like scary. Like, calm down, dude. Calm down. It's the wet. You just spun. Calm down. But yeah, came through the field really, really nicely. Then obviously the rain came out. Let me just have a look. What did he actually do when the rain came out? Was he a pitter like Russell? So yeah, okay. So him and he put on the same lap as Lando. So again, I've been saying it all stream. 50%. Well done to the team for telling him to pit and make the right decision. But well done to Antonelli for also making the decision to pit, knowing that the conditions weren't great. And yeah. End up coming out in P5, I believe, behind Albon. Excuse me, yeah. P5 behind Albon. Got a penalty. Had a 5-second penalty and still went for the move on Albon. Fucking amazing ballsy overtake. Again, almost like a little bit too much confidence. Like, you got a 5-second pen. There's not much laps to go. He probably knows that penalty is not going to get removed. Goes for a ballsy, risky overtake that could have fucked him up. Doesn't matter. He gets it done. Gets the penalty removed. Finishes in P4. Only 2 seconds off of George Russell. Amazing. If I'm rating him solely as a rookie in the race, I'm giving him a 10. But obviously we're racing qualifying and the race, and I'm not rating him as a rookie. We're rating everyone's performances. At the end of the day, he made a mistake in qualifying. He made a mistake in the race. If it wasn't for that, maybe he could have finished ahead of Russell. You know what I mean? So that's where you got to look at it. So I'm probably going to give him, like, it's tough, man. It's tough because it's going to be 8.5. You know what I mean? If you take away Kimi Antonelli, you take away rookie. It was a great recovery drive. And he finished where he should be. But, yeah. I'll give him 8.5. His confidence was through the roof. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Again, it's scary. It's fucking scary. I hope he doesn't crash. As a rookie, 9. As normal, 7, you reckon? Quality is a 4, bruv. He was P16 when he should have been in the top 5. Yeah, but the thing is, I always do this. I've always said this in my dry ratings. If you qualify bad, and recover to your normal position, then I feel like the qualifying almost like ignores itself in a way, like eliminates itself. Well, I mean, I've still taken 1.5 off of him for his qualifying. But at the end of the day, he made up 12 positions in the race. So he's made up 12 positions in the race, which is insane, and he's finished where he should be. Yeah, obviously you can say he spun in the race as well. But overall, like, he's had a good race. The qualifying kind of eliminates itself. Yeah, I'm not giving him higher than 8.5 though, just because he did finish behind his teammate. He made that mistake in quali. He made a mistake in race, but yeah. -1 for quali, else would have been an easy 9. Got to factor in if he had started at the front, he could have had a shot at winning. Who knows? But 8.5. I don't think he had a shot at winning. I think, is it bad to say that he might have actually beat Russell if they qualified next to each other? I think he had the pace to beat Russell. But then again, we don't know. Would have Russell tried harder? Was Russell conserving his tires? You never know. But he finished 2 seconds behind Russell in the end, which is crazy. Race has more weight than quali, and points have more weight than good effort. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, maybe I am being too kind to Antonelli because it's his rookie race. Maybe I just can't get over the head that it was he was a rookie, but he finished P4. He finished where he should be. So I'm gonna stick to my 8.5. Chat, don't overinflate ratings just because he's a rookie. Too much luck for Kimmy. Wow, YouTube chat's given Kimmy a 10. Oh my lord. If the YouTube chat, oh my god, what is this? The sun. If YouTube chat was on the Twitch stream right now, I think 10 would be beating a 9 rating. One second, I need to shut my curtain. By the way, Twitch chat, YouTube chat. We're obviously live on YouTube, Twitch at the same time. That's where you can vote in the poll. What the fuck? I'm typing on the wrong keyboard. That's where you can vote on the poll. So if you want to come over to the Twitch stream, link to chat. Come rate for these last few drivers. We're mentioning that some of those positions he made up during the race were due to crashes in the first 3 laps. That is true, Coconut Monkey, but just like we talked about with Stroll, just like we talked about with Albon, like keeping it, and Hulkenberg, keeping it on track in a race like this is deserved of praise. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, yeah. When half the grid is doing bad, you should be praised for doing good, I think. All right, anyways, we'll move on from Kimmy. Happy with the 8.5. We're in the poll there. Majority of you guys saying 8. A few people saying 7. A few people saying 9. Okay, cool. All right, next up, we have got George Russell sleeper build. George Russell sleeper build merchant. George Russell. If you're just tuning in the stream, you just type in chat what you want to vote, and it will pop up on thy poll. Of myself. All right, G-Russ, let's talk about him. George Russell qualified in P3. He qualified in P4. He outqualified his teammate by 0.6 in Q1. Obviously, Antonelli making that mistake. Then he went on all the way through to Q3. He only got beaten by Max Verstappen, who was maybe in a faster car, maybe in an equal car. Either way, I think George qualified where he should be, and was right on Max. So great quali from Russell. Let's say 9.5 for quali. And then in the race, I think he did exactly what he needed to do. I think his race pace in the wet was a little bit slow and concerning. Like the fact that Red Bull struggled that much, and then Russell was still, what, 12 seconds behind Max? Where was he? Let me have a look. I'm just looking at the highlights right now. Yeah, 8 seconds. Actually, that's not too bad. 8 seconds down on Max, but still, again, really hard to rate because we don't know the pecking order of Red Bull and Mercedes just yet. And then, yeah, he kept it clean, which not a lot of drivers did. You know, Oscar Piastri didn't keep it clean. Leclerc didn't keep it clean. Tsunoda, Alonso, Sainz, all these experienced drivers didn't keep it clean, and he did. And he came home in P3 on a podium, sleeper build, just cruises and I guess a good result. Yeah, I think I'm going to give Russell a 9. I'm tempted to give him a 9.5. Because unlike Albon, where it's like, well, you could have beaten Tsunoda. You could have beaten... No. Yeah, his race pace was kind of eh. His race pace was kind of eh. Maybe there is a world he could have out-qualified Max and stayed ahead of Max. So, 9. We'll live at 9. We'll live at 9. I'm happy with that. I think that this might be the most, like... This could probably end up being the most, like, agreed-upon rating. What are you guys saying? Secret agent George Russell. He was doing nothing. He was just Sunday driving. Good drive, but didn't do much. The fact he was never seen on TV shows that he had a very solid race. Yeah, well, that's the thing. He pit at the same time as Lando. So like, no one saw that. No one saw that. He wasn't doing shit. He wasn't really on Max. Yeah, he was doing all right. But he wasn't having a 9 rating race. But you think it should be higher or lower, Eric? Now the ones for Liam were like 90%. Got the maximum points you could this race. George maybe could have got Max. I think he was saving. Yeah, potentially. He just being Russell. Even Max didn't. Yeah, true. Even Max made a mistake. Russell was flawless. Good point. All right. I actually don't think there's much more to say about Russell. Very solid weekend for the man. Let's move on. On the poll, the majority of you guys are saying 9 as well. All right. We move on to P2. Max Verstappen. This is going to be an interesting one. I think just unlike the rookies where they get overrated for their ratings, I think Max might get underrated because he's hailed so high. But what do you guys give Max for the Australian Grand Prix? Type in chat. Whoa, really? What? Damn. I was genuinely expecting fuckloads of 8s. I'm not going to lie. I hadn't even thought about what I was going to rate him. I was expecting a lot of 8s. Okay, so Max Verstappen in qualifying, P3, which is, I think, exactly what he should have been doing. The McLarens were clearly the best car in qualifying. He was 3/10 off of them. I don't think there's a world where we can be like, oh, but he could have gotten P2 or could have gotten P1. I don't think there's any world that would have happened this weekend, unless it rained in qualifying. So yeah, perfect qualifying. Didn't do anything wrong in qualifying. Didn't make a mistake in qualifying, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, it was very solid. Then coming into the race, great race start. If it was dry, I'm telling you, I ain't glazing. If it was dry, I actually think he gets P1 off the start. He had such a good run. Would have hooked it around the outside. On Lando and Piastri, but anyways, in the end, wasn't able to get Lando, but was able to get Piastri. And I think that kind of set up, thankfully, can I just say, thank God Max got past Piastri off the start, because I think that really set up a nice race for that start of the race. I think Max might have struggled behind in the wake. Actually, to be honest, maybe if Max didn't get Piastri off the start, it would have been more entertaining because he would have taken attempts at Piastri to get past. But yeah, once again, McLaren, the fastest car. Max, don't need the fastest car. Give me some wet and I'll be the fastest out there. Gets past Piastri. Is chilling behind Lando. Wasn't able to go for a move on Lando. But then again, we didn't really get much opportunity. I mean, the race was delayed because Hadja crashed, and then we got the safety cars at the start. So by the time it started to dry up, and fuck me, that McLaren looks so good in at cooling the tires, and that Red Bull just completely degraded and fell off. Maybe Max could have done a better job of managing those tires potentially. The tires went off so much, he ended up going off track and making a mistake to allow Piastri to get through. Then the rain came. Both McLarens went off. He got past Piastri. He decided to stay out. Now, I've been saying it the whole stream. This is 50% you, 50% the team. I think he could have seen how wet it was, knowing how hard it is to drive, and probably made the decision to pit the lap after, but he chose to stay out and take that risk, and it was the wrong decision in the end. Well, we were talking about this earlier. Was it the wrong decision? Because I think it was the right decision to go one more lap. It was the wrong decision to go one more laps after that. But at that point, you may as well just stay out and stay for a safety car and a red flag. So it is kind of like, in hindsight, made the wrong decision, but I think he made the right decision to stay out. But then he made the wrong decision to not pit. But then again, at that point, you may as well just stay out and hope for a red flag. So I don't know. It's like, it's fucky. It wasn't really wrong. He knew to bail out. Yeah, and at the end of the day, he kept it on track, unlike fucking Liam. Who else spun? Was it just Lamb? Yeah, just Lamb. Who spun? I guess Bortoletto spun, but he was on Inces. But yeah, then after that, he was solid, right on the back of Lando. Put up a nice little fight at the end. I think if we had 1 to 2 more laps, maybe Max could have done it, but it would have been really, really hard at a track like that. But yeah, I think overall, great weekend for Max. But it wasn't perfect. You know, he did make that one mistake in the race. And he did make, in my opinion, not in hindsight, the right call for the pit stop. So I'm gonna say 9.5. I think I'm 9.5. I think if the Red Bull was 4 tenths off, the way I see it, the Red Bull was 4 tenths off in qualifying. He dropped, 15 seconds down in the race once it dried up. The fact that he finished P2 and that close to Lando when the car is that bumhole in comparison, I don't know. I think like that's almost a perfect race. Only knocking 0.5 off because he didn't win and because that mistake. He was lapping 1 to 2 seconds faster than Lawson for the entire first stint and also pulled the 8 seconds out. Oh, and we're taking points off because Liam set a faster lap. Liam's just the best. But what if he only had a good start because it was wet? What's you saying? Like the Red Bull is good in the wet, or are you saying because Max is good at starting in the wet? Because if you're saying because Max is good at starting in the wet, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the point. Can even go 9.5 is an impressive achievement to even be anywhere in the fight with the win, considering how much faster McLaren was. Yeah, except for that one mistake. I'm blaming strategy on the team, not driver. He did nothing wrong. Max made a mistake, solid 8. He made a mistake to let Oscar through, but other than that, he was pretty flawless. Couldn't do better against McLaren, past Piastri. Small mistake, they let Piastri back through, but it was solid. Could have won. 10, because as a McLaren fan, it's so annoying seeing how he's always keeping within reaching distance, ready to pounce. The only 10 besides Norris, in my opinion, is just that guy. If it was dry, he'd take the lead at the start, but the McLarens would walk past him quickly and he'd end up in P3. Couldn't have done much more, to be honest. His minor mistake was a result of him trying to keep up with the fast McLaren. George said first 2 sectors were like 6 seconds slower on inters on the first lap. So if the rain passes after 1 to 2 laps, the dries are correct. He was lapping 1 to 2 seconds faster than Lawson. I read that. I think the team knows how long will rain last, so has the upper hand. I think team knows how long will rain last, so has upper hand at the decision. Driver knows better when track dries out. He got absolute max in quality and max result in race winning is low-key reaching that. That's as close to a 10 as possible without getting a 10. Yeah, I agree. It was an impressive achievement. I read that. Max a god on the wet. I'm sad to say RB may be 0.6 seconds off a normal track. Melbourne is not a reference. Yeah. He was only that close because Lando had floor damage. I've seen that comment a few times in chat. Lando had damage? This is I've literally, first time I've seen this is a couple messaging in the chat. Is this real? The Red Bull's amazing at race starts, especially compared to the McLaren. Well, according to Lando, he jumped on a reporter for asking about the race starts. He said, "Nope, we've fixed those now. So anytime Lando has a bad start, just remember, guys, the McLaren's fixed." So I don't know. I don't know if that's the truth anymore. From running on the gravel, he said it himself. When did he go on the gravel? When he went off in the grass? Wait, was that gravel? I don't remember. But I'm assuming you're talking about when he went off the track in the changing conditions. Is it gravel there? Just grass. when he went off with Oscar. Oh, yeah, true. There is gravel at the start. Yeah, true. I just thought it was all grass. Only reason he finished as close as he did was because Alonso crashed and safety car brought him back up when he was 16 seconds down. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of Alonso, do you hear that? Wait, where's that? Speeding like Alonso just to crash your party. Oh, YouTube, you guys can't hear that. Take the L. Yeah, what were we saying? When Piastri went off too, but Oscar got beached on the grass. Is that confirmed? Andreas said that, but who knows? Okay, well, we'll take their word for it. We'll take their word for it. He had damage. He had damage. Apparently, we made that mistake when Max got close again. He got a bit of floor down. Right. Max was close in the beginning too. McLaren's advantage when he comes in at like 10 plus laps. Makes perfect sense why Max was so close with 7 racing laps. Yeah. Poor YouTube. They get a late stream and they can't hear the song. This is why you gotta watch the Twitch stream, man. This is why you gotta watch the Twitch stream. All right. We'll move on from Max. Well done on the 9.5 rating. Maybe best of the week. He's at least highest so far, and we've got one driver to go. Majority of you guys saying 9 as well. All right, we move on to the final driver. P1, Lando Norris. Let's get the poll up. I'm curious to see this one as well. To be honest, all the ratings I'm really curious about. All right, Lando Norris. What do you rate his Australian Grand Prix? Now, this is a tough one. This is a tough one because he won the race. And I don't want to sit here and nitpick someone who had a top race. But at the same time, in 2024 and 2023, when Max Verstappen won a race, you do have to look at how fast the car is and be like, relative to how fast that car is, did he finish where he should have? So let's break it down. Qualifying, perfect. Out-qualified Max Verstappen by 5/10. Out-qualified his teammate by 10th. Perfect qualifying. There's nothing to say about qualifying. Oh, actually, it wasn't perfect. He did make the mistake on the banker lap. Which, at the end of the day, doesn't matter because he did set the fastest time. But I do just want to point out again, we've come into the season going, McLaren need to tidy up their mistakes, and Lando and Piastri need to stop making the mistakes under pressure / in qualifying. And then they go make a mistake on the banker lap. Thank God they redeemed themselves. But, yeah, at the end of the day, it was the perfect time. Then, coming into the race, another poor start. Another poor start. Like launch, I should say. But, thankfully, it was wet. His teammate was on the inside. I think Piastri was a little bit more careful. He defended Max nicely and kept the lead. After that, he pretty much was very smooth, was very on it. Until Max made that mistake and Piastri got past. And Piastri closed in. Was that Lando managing his pace? Or was that Lando lacking race pace on those inter slicks? I don't know about you guys. I do feel like that was Lando lacking pace on the inter slicks. I feel like Piastri was the faster driver and at that point in the race. Obviously, yes, Piastri did overdo it. So props to Lando for just keeping it smooth and not crumbling to the pressure of Piastri or Max. But I do feel like Piastri was the quicker driver. It was managing. He was saving tires when Piastri caught up. So said on the comms. Okay. He wasn't pushing it as hard as Piastri. Okay. That's probably why his tires were so goated at the end of that stint then. Lando had the hardest job to be in front in these conditions. Oh, well, it's 50-50. I think being the leading driver in the wet is great because you get you don't get the spray behind. But then being behind but being in front, you obviously have the pressure and you have to like kind of figure out the brake points yourself rather than basing it off the car in front. So I would say it's 50-50. It's harder as a leader in these conditions. Best visibility, but no reference. Yeah, exactly. It's hard. It's hard. It goes both ways. If it was mixed, it would be 7.5 the mile. There wasn't a single driver who didn't make at least one mistake. No, exactly. Anyways, continuing on with Lando. In the race, he made that mistake, you know, and it's like you guys said, you come up to the sector, all of a sudden you're turning in and braking at your normal point, and you go off track and you make a mistake. He recovered it so well. I would have liked to have seen him be maybe a little bit more careful in Sector 3, considering his team literally said it's raining there. But, like, I'm not going to demote points for that. Made the right decision. Came to the pits. Reacted perfectly. Lovely. Safety car came out. Max put on the pressure. He handled the pressure well. It's almost a 10. It's like a 9.9. It's a 9.9. The thing that I toss up as is it not a 10 is because how have you in the fastest car allowed Max Verstappen to stay with you almost the entire race? That's the only thing. And, you know, maybe new people tuning into my driver ratings will be like, oh, you're just saying this because you're a Max fan. But the thing is, for 2 years, I sat here on the stream and criticized Max every single race of Max. I didn't give him a 10 every single race in 2023. I didn't even give him a 10 every single race in 2024. I sat here and went, was it a perfect race? And I'd give him 9s and I'd give him 9.5s. And we have to do the same with Lando. And at the end of the day, he was the fastest car in the grid. He made a mistake. And we gave Max a 9.5. He had the fastest car in the grid. He's finished less than a second ahead of Max. I mean, safety car, yeah. Maybe I'll let you guys decide. I mean, 52% of you is saying 10. 30% are saying 9. What are you guys saying? And then I'll make my decision on if it's a 9.5 or a 10. The only reason Max was close was because of safety car. I mean, yeah, but he's keeping up, though. He's keeping up with a car that's was at one point 15 seconds up the road. Probably the same as Max, 9 or 9.5. One mistake, but still one. Got unlucky with the VSC. What are people not understanding? The reason why Max was that close was because of the late safety car and the floor damage. Yeah, but we're not talking about the end of the... I'm not looking at the last 8... I'm not looking at the last 5 laps of the race and saying, yeah, but Max finished close to him because of a safety car and floor damage. I'm talking about the start of the race where you're in the rain and Max in a much slower car is keeping up. But then you could argue, obviously, rain is the biggest equalizer. That's why I don't know, because Piastri is known for pushing his tires more. The people here forget his free practice and qualify. Lando had the hardest job to be in front in these conditions. Mistakes on a banker lap mid-start. Huge mistake when the rain came and got lucky to save it. Mistake at turn 6 on second last lap, which is why Max got DRS. If it was Max, it would be a 7.5 Lamau. There wasn't a single driver who didn't make at least one mistake. Yeah, true. Australia 2015, 10 years ago, McLaren were basically the worst car in the grid. In a race like this, all drivers will make mistakes. G. Russell didn't. G. Russ didn't. He don't make mistakes. Talking about strategy for team and driver being 50-50, I think Lando actually pushed Will to pit. He wanted to pit ahead of the rain, but Will didn't want to pit early. Then both clans went off. No, I agree, SEB. No, I think Lando did a great job in that department. I don't think... I had a conversation with someone off stream about this. I don't think he was pushing Will to pit early. I think he was pushing Will to prioritize him in the pit stop. So, like, if McLaren were going to go 50-50, one driver goes into, one driver stays out, rather than doing a double stop, I think he wanted to be the one that pits for inters. I don't think he was trying to push to pit early, because I think it would have been silly. If they end up pitting, if he didn't go off track and then end up pitting, I think it would have been silly. I think he had to, yeah. I think he just wanted to push to be the one who did it out of the two in McLaren. Because there's a world where they would have told Lando to stay out and pit Piastri onto the inters. Honestly, it could have gone so many ways. 10 got to be flawless. No one had a flawless weekend. Yeah, that's true. Max also deserved a 10, you reckon? I mean, there were safety cars. He didn't. He built a 16-second lead until the safety car. It was 16 seconds at some point. There were multiple safety cars. He should be cruising into the distance for a 10 with that car. It's real. We're getting heated here for a 9.5 or a 10. 9.5, 10. He had 6 laps after the safety car though. Only finished 0.8 seconds behind. All right, you know what I'll do for this poll? I'll change it. I'll change it to 9, 9.5, 10. All right, Updated poll. Wow, what the fuck? It's like in weird order, but 9.5 or 10. Let's see if we get a more synonymous, I don't even know what words I'm saying anymore, rating. They put it when Lando wanted, he could have completely lost out. That's true, because that's what I mean. I think he wanted to do it the lap before almost. How is 18 seconds behind keeping up? If any other car was close to the McLaren pace, those mistakes cost them the race win. Wait, sorry, to answer your question, CJ, how is 18 seconds behind? Well, the car fell off to where it should have been, but he kept up for that long in a car that shouldn't have been there. He almost ended his race with a mistake, by the way. That makes the race not flawless already. He wanted to be boxed before the rain hit rather than going a lap too long. Also, you know how much there's to lose with floor damage? Oh, yeah, 100%, 100%. Regardless of what you guys vote in the poll, I think I've made my decision. I'm going to give Lando 9.5. Again, you guys can disagree. You guys can think it's a 10. Is your opinion. But for me, the way I do ratings is 10 has to be perfect. And he made a mistake in qualifying. He made a mistake in the race. And I think for how strong... And Piastri had better race pace, in my opinion. I just think for how strong that car is, I would have liked to have seen a slightly smaller race, but I think number one is all good, guys. Number one is good. I'm sorry, Lando fans. I'm sorry. When he gets a 10, he's got many 10s from me before, but when he gets a 10, it will feel like a 10. This didn't feel like a 10. It's a 9.5. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. Okay? I'm sorry. Boo, do round number. Nah, this is why you gotta do decimals, man. This is why you gotta do decimals. Bro, Piastri was pushing harder. The car in front hits the wet track first. You would not have done that to any other driver. Oh, 100%. I literally do that. I literally don't give Max 10s all the time when he wins races in dominant fashion. You gotta look at it relative to the car. Lando did not have a poor start. I disagree. In my opinion, this was Lando's best win yet. Ooh. What is his wins again? Miami? Miami was a, like, quote-unquote gifted safety car. But he still obviously did well to hold off Max behind. But then you could argue Max had floor damage, whatever. Yeah, I don't think Miami was his best. Then Singapore. What happened to Singapore? I'm fairly sure I gave Lando a 10 in Singapore and Zandvoort because he was flawless. At the end of the day, I think it's hard to get 10 in these conditions. Some people would argue, oh, well, if to win a race in these conditions deserves a 10. I can see that argument, but for me, I just think, I don't know, I think it's just too many little things. Diddled and fiddled with the walls in Singapore. True, I forgot about that. Dude, we had this exact same argument in Singapore. Do you guys remember? The exact same thing. In Singapore, people are like, he won the race though and he dominated. You should give him a 10. And I was sitting here like, yeah, but like he did kind of like almost fuck his entire race up. I think I gave him a 10 in Singapore though, because I think it was a bit ridiculous to demote a driver a 10 just because they made one mistake. But today, I think it's more than one mistake. It's the quality mistake. It's the race mistake. I think it's the car performance as well. Surely Zandvoort Abu Dhabi. I forgot what happened to Abu Dhabi. I know he won, but like, what was the Abu Dhabi race? Did he just dominate? Missed drive ratings will be on YouTube. Yeah, I've streamed on YouTube menu. His rally driving nearly ruined it. What's up, Ben? How's it going, dude? Abu Dhabi was perfect from a man said quality mistake after getting pole. I mean, yeah, that's the other thing with a mistake on your banker lap is like, I mean, it's not the lap that mattered is the lap that he got pole. So that's all that matters. Proper begging it. No, we're just discussing, bro. There's been multiple times today. Liam, Piastri, Max, where we talk about Kimi, we talk about the driver's entire race, and then people are like, you're looking too much into it. It's like, that's what you're meant to do, man. That's what we're meant to do. And we're talking about every little thing. I agree Piastri's race pace was better than Lando, but who had a better start and better quality? Better launch was Piastri. Better start was obviously Lando, 100%. Better quality was Lando as well. Wait, why are we comparing Lando and Piastri for race start and quali? We've already rated Piastri like a fucking 4 today. Piastri's pushing to keep up with Norris. What grade did Piastri get? What did we give him again? Like a 4.5? He's giving me the fries behind for constructors. So you rate Lando and Max the same? Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to rate Lando and Max the same. I think they both pushed the car to their max level, and they both made mistakes or made a mistake. I think Max's mistake was the strategy. I think Lando's mistake was obviously going off track. I don't know. It wasn't perfect, guys. No one was perfect this week. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I think if now I'm like, maybe it is a 10. Maybe it is a 10. People say care way too much about what others say about their favorite driver team, in my opinion. I'm not just saying this in chat, but in general as well. Yeah. Apparently Norris had a lot of damage on the floor from going off. Yeah. Yeah, I think I have to say true to myself. 10 is flawless. 10 is flawless. Even though it's probably 10 in the context of this race, 10 is flawless. I think Lando did have good race pace when he was managing. That's the other thing. It's really hard to tell. Some people will be like, oh, but the floor. And I'm like, after being apart 16 seconds. How was Max so close the whole race? Did you just say that after 3 safety car phases that pushed the field together? How was Max so close the whole race? I mean, I'm talking about the first, the opening part of the race, but I mean, my argument is when you're in the fastest car, it doesn't matter if a safety car is thrown. You should be able to shake them easy. C-Hop, C-Hop, thank you so much for the sub, dude. I appreciate you coming in with the prime. Appreciate you subbing to the stream for the very first time. Also, Bavika, LR, Scoptimus Prime, Astronaut, Bongod. Thank you guys all for the follows around the stream. Anyways, we've spoken enough. We've spoken enough. It wasn't the whole race. Jesus Christ. Wait, what? I didn't... Did I? Okay, if I said Max kept up with the McLarens the whole race, I apologize. But what I meant was when his car allowed him to, he kept up with them the whole race in a car that wasn't as fast as McLaren. But obviously, yes, he did fall back because the fucking tires absolutely died on that Red Bull. And the McLaren, I don't know. Testament to McLaren though. Holy fuck, what they've built on this the brake ducts for that McLaren are insane. The cooling is nuts. I mean, C-Hop, thank you so much for the sub, dude. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Blood is dragging out a 6-hour stream. I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it. It's so good to have Formula One back. So many people in chat chatting about Formula One passionately. Even if whether you disagree or not, I appreciate you guys tuning in and like just discussing it. You know, this is fun. This is fun. All right, we're in the poll there. 27% say 9, 25% say 10, and 47% say 9.5. So overall, 70% of people don't think it's a 10, and 25% of people say it's 10. Look, I think at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just your opinion on what you think is a 10 and what you think, how you think Lando is did relative to the car. At the end of the day, we're not dissing. I think at the end of the day, no one's dissing Lando. You know what I mean? No one's dissing Lando. Me saying he made a mistake in qualifier, you don't take that as me being, I'm begging it. I'm looking too much into the details. I'm just stating a fact. At the end of the day, he made a mistake in quali. Can we see the final scores for the drivers? So, Baviko, the way I do driver ratings, we kind of go one by one. And we do the ratings together, so I don't do them before the stream, so we don't have like an overall tally. Actually, what we could maybe do is like a mod could like, or maybe actually next time I'll keep track of the ratings I give. Actually, I'll do that. I'm gonna go through the VOD after today's stream and tally up all the scores and put it on a sheet, and then we can like look at it at the end of the stream, and then we can kind of like calculate the average and stuff like that. Piastri and Lando did almost the same mistake, but Lando's a 10 and Piastri's 4 because he got punished way more for the mistake. Yeah, that's a good point, Coconut. That's a good point. Yeah, we sit here and give Piastri a lower rating just because he was punished by the mistake. But then other people want to give Lando a 10, even though he wasn't punished by it. The fact that Lando was able to avoid sliding off in the grass is not because the car is fast. Yeah, true. Lando, take it back to the track ASAP. The excuses people will make for Oscar but will destroy Lando for is insane. Lando recovers. Oscar lost control. Simple. By the way, do you think this was a champion's drive by Lando? What does chat think? Do you guys think this is a champion's drive by Lando? Well, what's the definition of a champion's drive? Like, a champion's drive to me is a drive that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. So like a Lewis Hamilton in Turkey, in 2020, a Max Verstappen Sao Paulo 2024. I mean, I've obviously only been watching Formula One for 8 years now, so I can't go back further than that. They're probably the only two champions drives that come to my mind. Hamilton 2021 Brazil, yeah. Hamilton 2021 Brazil. They're the only three that I can actually think of. So I'll then ask you, do you think that drive from Lando is on the same level as Max Sao Paulo 2024, Lewis 2021 Brazil, and Lewis 2020 Turkey? I think 99% people would agree that it's not. So, yeah. Good drive. That's it. Yeah, exactly. It was a great drive. It was a fantastic drive. I think for me, the word I would use, redeeming. It was a redeeming drive. He was in wet conditions, getting chased down by a champion, and he held himself. He had a tough strategy decision thrown at him, and he made the right decision. I'm going to say this, give me hate, but Perez Sakir GP 2020. Actually, I'll agree with you. I'm agree with you. Is that, no, I actually, what do we think, chat? What do we think? Is Checo Sakir GP 2020 a champions level drive? I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Last to first in a fucking racing point. It wasn't for the championship. Yeah, I know, but like we're talking about the level of drive. I guess, yeah, it wasn't for the title, so yeah, but I mean, you mean the Mercedes? You should have been given the title. I wasn't watching that year, but that sounds like a drive. Yeah, it was insane. I mean, that was literally what got him the Red Bull seat. And it sucks, man, because like you've just said, you didn't watch that year. So you probably think Checo is an absolute bum who can't drive a car, but that man was literally best of the rest. He was the third best driver in 2020. He was so fucking good. And when he got signed to Red Bull, I was like, fuck yeah, we're going to have a championship fight. He's going to be so good. No, that car is just too hard. Definitely, yeah, it's debatable. I guess the argument could be the driver who should have won, Russell and Bottas, got punctures in a pit stop issue. Should be. But then you could argue, Lewis in Brazil was gifted a sprint. So it's just like, you know what I mean? But the other day, it's like the performance level that went on. Poor car manager, excuse me. He redefined what athleticism was. All right. We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up the drive ratings. All right, guys, that is it for today's drive ratings. Thank you all for joining me. Really do appreciate it. It was really good. That was probably the best Grand Prix review we've ever done, ever. 6 hours, breaking down the race highlights, talking about all the memes, looking at F1 Fantasy, looking at F1 Predict, and then ending off with a big driver rating session. Really do appreciate everyone tuning on in. Apologies for a bit of a chaotic and all over the place driver ratings. Few new things trying out, so it was a bit rough in that department. But I think most of all, like, it's really, really hard to do driver ratings for a weekend like that. And the way I do ratings, I rate performances, solely performances, no bias towards rookies, no, standards for good drivers. But also, when you do qualifying in the race and you've got some people doing great in qualifying and then shit in the race, and then vice versa. First race of the season, we've got no pecking order to go off. It was really, really tough. So it was just fun to go through every driver, talk about them overall, and kind of set a rough rating. You know what I mean? And that's how I like doing ratings. I used to do my ratings off stream and just like pull my hair out trying to think of the perfect rating and reasonings and whatever. But I like the way we do it now. It's way more chill and we can have better discussions, And I'd like to think at the end of the day, like, you might not agree with me giving Lando a 9.5 instead of a 10 or giving L1 a 9 instead of a 10, but we can at least discuss and see why we thought each other's ratings were what we gave. Bro's stream start tolerance is plus minus 2 hours. No, Buzz, on Twitch. No, Buzz. I'm sorry. But on Twitch, we go live and we do the first half of the Grand Prix review stream. I can't stream that on YouTube because we're watching videos and stuff like that. And then we end with driver ratings. So today, we end up spending so long doing the Grand Prix review that we actually didn't have much time to do. Driver ratings got pushed back. Is a champion's drive dominating or fighting at the front of the field? I think it's just such an insane race and driving level performance that you'll just remember for the rest of your life. I don't know. That's the way I kind of see it. I think it's a champion's drive for showcasing he can handle the pressure when he hadn't before. Well, fair. Your bias against Lando is crystal clear. Fair enough. So, man, have a good day. And sorry for yelling about Max keeping up with that. Lando, no worries at all, FH. We're here to discuss things, so all good. All right, YouTube chat. That's it for me. Thank you guys all for watching the driver ratings. Tune on in next week. Same time, same place, roughly, for the Chinese Grand Prix. We'll be doing our ratings of every single driver once again. Again, every single Monday, Grand Prix review on Twitch. Driver ratings on Twitch and YouTube. Be sure to tune on in. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.